Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is our stream. I lost my intro already. I'm caffeinated and I'm awake. Well, mostly awake, and I had everything good to go. You get started, and it's just like tripping out of the gate.
Yeah. I mean, it is Saturday, so I mean, we don't have to be super professional.
And there's Pork. He was patiently waiting for us to get started.
Now, is that correct that Pork is commie in space, or did I just mishear that?
I am not sure.
How's it going, Pork? Good to see you anyway. But now, man, it's Hey, there's Foogie.
Hey, Foogie, how's it going? Actually, we'll start. When we were watching the slap fights.
Oh yeah, the slap fights.
I got a copyright notice. It's yeah.
Which one? Which one gave the copyright?
It's hard to tell because it's just a notice from what Hammer was telling me. You'll get those occasionally. I guess whenever he hosted Minions, every time he played a song, he got a copyright notice.
Yeah.
So he's like, if you just don't care about it, then don't worry about it.
That's still pretty funny though.
But it's funny because you'd think all that stuff came from other channels. So one of those must have come from something official.
Yeah.
So that guy's clearly got, if I got a copyright notice, someone else has definitely got a copyright notice on one of those. Because if since it's a compilation thing, they probably got.
I seriously doubt it's the Russian ones.
Oh, I doubt it.
I mean, the only one that we really watched like a full video of was the two black chicks.
Yeah, and even that was just someone's just video of it.
Yeah.
And and I don't remember. I know that I think it was from our game stream. I remember us mentioning something that had to, like, they didn't mention Inquisitor, but I couldn't find it. So I was like, I'm still trying to remember exactly what we were looking for.
Well, like that whole Captain Marvel thread is in our DM. So if you just scroll up a bit,
yeah,
there's that.
And then I think it was the Joe Rogan thing. So
yeah, I still have not gotten through all of that with the Adam Ruins Everything. I'm about 2 hours in. I still got about, I don't know, another just under an hour to go. But it's been pretty painful so far. Just listening to that guy tripping over every point he's trying to make and failing. It's kind of cringy, but at the same time, it's kind of like, yeah, this is what happens when you don't have, a writing staff, feeding you every line.
Yeah. Sinatra's video pretty much nailed it. And just so we can check, how are we sounding in chat? Because I re-listened to most of the game stream, and you were pretty quiet, almost like your mic wasn't on.
Yeah, guys, how do I sound? Johnny's been screwing with the audio. Because Johnny is the producer. I'm just the talent. I just show up.
Hey, Reaper, how's it going?
I show up. Johnny tells me where to stand, what to say, all that jazz.
I am the director.
Fugi's saying that he can hear me way better this time, so that's good.
Yeah, we're not going through OBS, and so that's kind of.
Oh, so this is straight up Hangouts.
Yeah, I think that's probably why. Hangouts through OBS, you'll tend to have that problem. I've noticed.
That means you guys will be able to hear every creak of my chair, every time I light a cigarette, every little bit of phlegm.
And every time Cassie 2 Cents wants to speak out.
Actually, I think today I might get away with that not happening. Uh, all the animals seem to be wanting to have a lazy Saturday, so
Well, it is the weekend.
that is true. That is true. Unfortunately, I still have to work though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I got to work my night shift tonight. And then 4 to 8 tomorrow.
although somebody's wanting out of the bedroom right now, so I will be right back. 1 second.
Okay. Now we'll get started. Um, yeah, we were talking about Mortal Kombat 11 with Terry the other day, and they were talking about. Have any of you guys played that this weekend? Not the best weekend for you. It is. Yeah, sorry to hear about that, man. Hopefully, it'll pick up for you. Um, yeah, it sounds like the endings for uh, Mortal Kombat for this time around. It almost sounded like they were talking about the ones from Armageddon, which was pretty much if you go through all the Mortal Kombat 11 is forbidden. Where exactly do you live? Well, I mean, not exactly. No. What country are you from?
Yes, give us the longitude and latitude. Don't leave out any details. No, I think MK11's been banned in a few countries. I think mostly around like Southeast Asia, and I'm sure there's probably some in the Middle East as well. But not like I lost. I lost following that franchise years ago. Like I don't think I've played it since I was a kid, in late '90s, early 2000s.
Let's see, banned in the Ukraine.
It's banned in Ukraine. Don't they got bigger shit to worry about in that country?
Well, I think this might actually have something to do with it. Let's see if I can. Yeah. Yeah, he's from Asia.
Oh, three countries. Okay, so it's Japan, Indonesia, and Ukraine. Okay, so that's the one I was thinking of. Indonesia being the Muslim
I can
majority country that banned it.
I can see why the Ukraine would ban this.
Hmm. Possibly.
You don't make fun of Mother Russia.
I think the best part of this is that we have terrible Russian accents. So,
Well, it
but
comes
but
from.
you but you know what we do have? We have a communist in the chat, and I have this. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way.
And hey, there's Necrosol. And there's my update list. I don't want you here. One of these days, my computer is going to be. We're gonna be in the middle of a stream, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we see you have an update. We'll just do this now.
Not strictly a commie now, more an authoritarian transhumanist. Okay. Well, I don't have an anthem for that pork, so you're stuck with
Um,
USSR.
so I have a question. Um, I
I
was
might have an
watching
answer.
I was watching. Was it? I wasn't watching it, but a client of mine had Jimmy Fallon playing in his room.
So he's terminal, is what you're saying.
He wishes. um, and this gal from what show was it? Billions. In fact, we will go.
I know there's a show named that, but I couldn't tell you who's in it or what it's about.
Well, I think it's a Showtime series, so that would be gal with the shaved head. It reminds me of half the girls from high school who shave their
Yeah,
head for a
I was gonna
reason.
say that that does not narrow it down any whatsoever.
Asia Kate Dillon.
Asia Kate Dillon. There's only one person who's ever had the name Asia that I didn't think was a complete freak, and that was a porn star.
Well, she was doing an interview on Fallon, and she was talking about uh, being non-binary,
Oh God.
and she just goes, "Well, I want to be like we want to be treated like normal human beings." And my first thought just went to, then why would you consider yourself non-binary? Like that. I guess there's.
We just want to be treated like everybody else, except special. That's what I hear when people start talking like that.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I miss the '90s. I really do. It was just gay, straight, and bi. That's all it was. So it was a simpler time.
Who is that? I think that would have been way better.
But she was sitting there promoting the show Billions, and they ended up talking about being non-binary.
Well, she I think it just popped up in conversation. I just walked in at that time when she was talking about, well, I identify as non-binary and blah 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 blah. And yeah, it irritating.
You know, I haven't really watched late night TV since Letterman went off the air because I mean it's the same show. It's the same show. Whether it's Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, you know, at least when it was Leno and Letterman, you had kind of like those were the big two. But even
Yeah.
those guys are still doing the same things that Johnny Carson did, the same things that Jack Parr did, going back to the beginning of these late night talk show kind of things. It's a commercial with some jokes sprinkled in from time to time.
Well, that's all it tends to be. I mean, it's
We're gonna have this famous actor on. They're gonna promote their new movie. They might give us some funny little anecdote from being on set or something like that.
was Letterman the diddler guy? I don't think so.
Letterman, he had an affair with a staffer, and I think her husband was threatening to out him. He was blackmailing him pretty much. And Letterman, he just came clean right on the air. He's like, yeah, fuck you. I'll just tell everybody myself. That was the big controversy with Letterman.
I know that actually there was a guy who tried to kidnap his kid.
David Letterman's kid?
Yeah, and what's funny is that he's from Montana. Like, and so like when it happened, I
When it happened, you were just reading the news like, why couldn't he have been from Florida? Fuck.
I'm like, this guy's not native Montanan. Like, there's no way. Because like the last guy who was in the news for something stupid, A guy from Montana, quote unquote, walked up to the White House and just started shooting. Like, just walked up with a gun and just started shooting into the White House.
Yeah, that really makes me wish they did have snipers on the roof of the White House. Just go ahead, put that dude out of his misery. He wants to go.
Let's see. The latest Letterman controversy sheds new light on widespread objectification of women in the workplace. Now said in a statement Tuesday. Of course, this was what, October 8th, 2009. Most women can attest to the fact that workplaces are plagued with inappropriate behavior by men in power. I didn't hear them say no. Yeah, I say put landmines on the White House lawn. Let's see. A CBS producer is accusing threatening of. Oh, a CBS producer, Robert Joe Halderman, is accused of threatening to go public with embarrassing information about Letterman's private life unless the 62-year-old funny man boned up $2 million. Letterman made a public apology on Monday to his wife, Regina Lasco, who he said had been horribly hurt by my behavior. He is trying to repair that relationship. Let's see. It came out in the audience. They had a 5-year-old son.
Yeah, because I remember, that story broke long before the term "cuck" came into the zeitgeist, and something's like hearing that story. It's like, wait a second. So a famous comedian who's on television, 4 or 5 nights a week, railed your wife, and you're threatening to tell everybody unless he gives you a couple $1,000,000. This doesn't quite add up to me.
Let's
It's like
see.
I don't think I'd be telling anybody about it. I sure as shit wouldn't be, committing a crime in the process. But hey, man, people in New York, they do strange things.
Yeah, Conan's still doing it. Conan's still pretty funny. He's kind of dipping in the same pool as the other people, though. It's just I think um, he was more courageous with his Obama jokes than most others. Um, I mean, he actually told some. Like, I mean, granted, they weren't as funny as they could possibly be, but if they weren't, typical.
Well,
Uh,
that's something that I've noticed as I've gotten older is comedians don't do jokes about Democrats nearly as well as they do about Republicans.
and it wouldn't be so bad if Republicans weren't so stupid about it. Like, because the Republican jokes are funny.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, like the Colbert Report was hilarious to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just him doing a Bill O'Reilly impression for better part of 10 years.
And I thought it was absolutely ridiculous when he went to CBS and he couldn't do his own sketches.
Yeah, which I mean, and that's another thing. Colbert, I mean, he was part of the ambiguously gay duo that everyone uses for ragging on the Krasensteins now.
Yeah, it was him and Steve Carell,
Oh yeah, but
written by Louis C.K. Louis C.K. and Triumph the Insult Comic Dog.
no, I mean, I'm trying to think who else. Like I actually sat down and listened to that Sunday special, that Ben Shapiro Sunday special with Dennis Miller, and that gave me a little bit more of an appreciation for Dennis Miller. My dad's a fan. I never really got into him. I enjoyed him as an actor, but I never really sat down and listened to his stand up comedy.
I
So
like
might have to go back and
the
give him a look.
yeah, his isn't that bad. I mean, it's the same as Mar, really. It's
Just the opposite side of the political lens.
yeah,
Yeah, because that's what my dad was telling me. You know, like he's like, you know, he was joking about, you know, Nancy Pelosi. You know, she's so crazy. You know, she's so batshit insane. She sleeps, you know, upside down. I was like, and I remember, you know, hearing, you know, my dad tell that joke. I was like, yeah, that doesn't really seem all that funny. And I started getting older. I was like, oh shit, she is fucking insane. Okay, I mean, still not that funny, but I mean, it's factual at least.
let's see. Yeah, Letterman taught kidnap plot foiled. This is from St. Patty's Day of 2005.
So what I'm hearing is like the first decade of the 21st century wasn't great for Letterman,
Yeah, not really.
or at least the latter half of the first decade.
David Letterman and his girlfriend thank law enforcement officials for uncovering a plot to kidnap their 16-month-old son from their Montana ranch, saying they were forever grateful. The man charged Thursday with hatching the scheme worked as a painter on the talk show host's $2,700 spread near 2,700 acre dollar. I wish it was $2,700. I could buy a plot of land for $2,700.
I'll give you a couple acres around here.
Spread near the rugged Rocky Mountain front. 43-year-old, according to police, had planned to hold the boy and his nanny for $5 million ransom. The thought was to kidnap the nanny and the child so the nanny could take care of the child during this period of kidnapping, said Mike Furter of the Montana Police Department of Corrections. In a statement issued by the publicist for Letterman's production company, Letterman and his girlfriend, Regina Lasco, praised the FBI and local authorities. Let's see.
Like, you're willing to kidnap a kid, but you're not willing to take care of it yourself. It's just lazy, man. Even the criminals these days are lazy. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to kidnap two people so one can take care of the other.
Well, if you don't think you can take care of a 16-month-old, find someone who will, or abduct someone who will.
No, like it makes me kind of glad. Like the weirdest stories I've had coming out of Oklahoma here recently. I tried to send a couple of them to MSS News because they were actually like linked. There was a dude in Oklahoma City
Oh, he
who
is a Montanan. He was raised in up near Great Falls.
yeah, there's a dude in Oklahoma City who got busted for selling pot. I think he had like a couple pounds on him. Check this. The dude's last name was Weed. So I tried to send that into MSS News. And then like a couple months after that, I tried to send in a follow-up because his brother, also named Weed, got busted for selling pot. It's like, you guys need to go into a different line of business. I mean, yeah, exactly. Next all, weed sold weed. I mean, sell some pills. Move into the meth trade. Maybe they won't catch you then. Goddamn, get away from the sticky icky. It ain't working out, boys.
All right, I'm gonna send you a link in the chat, the side chat,
Okay.
and I will be right back.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh God, I heard about this on Monkey in the Morning. That close that because I don't want videos popping up. And I guess I will go ahead and I don't know if Johnny's got me. I don't think he's got me presented, but I'll screen share this for you guys if it'll come up here. Come on, there we go. And protester glues her breast to ground outside Goldman Sachs. Hey, poor pork, you single? I think we found you a girlfriend. A woman has glued her breast to the road. Ooh, to the road. Outside the Goldman Sachs office today as activists ramp up disruption on the final day of protests. The eco-protester was spotted by passengers on a bus lying face down with her top up to her neck. Hey, man, I didn't know. Just, thought maybe I might hit it off, have something in common. Several police officers surrounded the woman and put up screens to stop the public watching her one-woman protest. Yeah, I imagine it'd be kind of hard to convince your friends to glue their tits to the ground. It was quite possibly the most spectacular stunt yet as climate change activists targeted London's financial districts to highlight what they call the business world's role in our collective suicides. See, I think we've got really need to work on how we define things because when I think of a spectacular stunt, I think of Evil Knievel trying to jump the Grand Canyon. It's spectacular, but not in that way. Extinction Rebellion demonstrators temporarily blockaded the London Stock Exchange by gluing themselves across entrances to the trading hub in the City of London early on Thursday morning. So what did everyone else glue? So this is the only one that glued her tits? They were unattached before being taken away in police vans with Scotland Yard saying 26 people had been arrested on suspicion of aggravated trespassing. The exchange said all markets were open as normal. Elsewhere, 5 protesters, including 83-year-old grandfather Phil Kingston, clambered onto the roof of a DLR train at Canary Wharf Station in East London, holding signs saying business as usual equals death and don't jail the canaries.
Yeah, there are far better ways to at least lock yourself into a spot.
They had an 83-year-old pensioner on the roof of a fucking train. The fuck is wrong with you people? That's right, Negertol. They don't do that in Texas or Oklahoma. Not in July. Not any time of year. I'll go out on a limb and I'll say that. People in this part of the country don't glue themselves to shit for no reason. But yeah, that's you'll never see a guy gluing his balls to the ground to protest something. Oh, and they've got a picture of the old dude. Look at this poor bastard. Somebody thought it was a good idea to get Grandpa on a fucking train, on top of a train.
At least he wasn't glued up there.
Well, I mean, for his sake, it probably would have been a good idea to make sure he had something, holding him up there.
See, and then this one where you got the hand, everyone's holding hands in front of the building.
Yeah. Wait,
See,
are they glued too?
If they, well, it wouldn't surprise me. But, oh, look, it's a Devo project. But yeah, it looks like they're handcuffed together, or they're holding each other by the wrists.
Yeah. Oh, while you were gone, we found out that I would make a horrible matchmaker.
Oh, he's not into glued tits.
Apparently he's not in a tits period. But I mean, that hip to waist ratio might not make that much of a difference.
Let's see.
No, man, that's. What kind of glue did they use? I wonder.
Well, if it's something like super glue, all they have to do is wait about 2 hours, and then the body will just naturally reject it, and then they can just peel it off. Here's a weird story, but not like too not glue your tits to the roadway weird.
I will keep an eye out for you, pork.
Man walks narrow ledge to retrieve cat from neighbor's balcony.
Hey, man, that's just being a good neighbor.
Yeah.
How high up are we talking here, though? Six stories? Okay, that's a damn good neighbor.
And then yeah, it looks like he's just casually up there, just like, oh yeah, we'll just run over here and get your cat, and then go back over there.
Although, I mean, like, what is this, middle of the day? I mean, I'm betting it was this dude's day off. You know, he had a lady friend come over for some afternoon delight, or possibly a guy friend. I'm not obviously I don't know, which way people lean, as we've established here today. But I'm betting you that cat was out on his ledge, just pawing at his window, just completely throwing off the mood.
So let's see. Pork's into the tall, dark, and hairy.
It would appear so.
Okay.
And I've got a tweet to look at.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I found the protester one from Petite Nacoco. I didn't actually catch all of Monkey in the Morning.
Yeah, they mentioned it. I can't remember exactly around what time, but yeah, like Polly was sitting there talking about the glue and everything. Oh, this poor dude, he's trying to just walk around these people without stepping on them. It's like, man, I just came in here to get a little produce. Oh, and this lazy bitch, she's laying on her backpack like a pillow.
Which one do you look? What do you?
Necrosol tagged me in it's a Paul Joseph Watson tweet. It's a 59-second video. He tags it, Alexa, how do we make environmentalism look stupid? And here I'll screen share, because I think he only tagged me in it, so I think it's why you were gone. Yeah, look at this poor guy. He's trying to get around him. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on here.
Oh yeah, that's the dead milk cow. They're doing it for like dairy rights or some shit like that.
But yeah, look at all these people. Look at them. And they brought their. Don't bring your fucking kids to a protest. Come on now. See, there's another one laying on her fucking back. She's not protesting. That bitch just taking a nap. Look at her. Look at her. She. And there's another one with. There's like 5, 6 different strollers.
Well, imagine everyone there has at least walked 10 feet and then got tired.
You know what I didn't? You know what I didn't see? I'll go back and look at that video again. Oh, turn the volume off. I'm not seeing any dudes laying around here. Oh no, there's one old man. Okay, there's one.
Well, his daughter is probably the one with the pillow.
Okay, so I see two so far. There's two of them. Oh, three. And he's sleeping on his fucking backpack too. Okay, so it's some stay-at-home moms, some college chicks, and like three homeless guys in this protest.
Oh, this is a. I don't know if they covered this one on MSS News.
What's up?
Um, from February 17th of 2019, inmates help police rescue Florida baby accidentally locked in car.
I don't know if they covered it, but I do remember that story. So maybe it was Monkey in the Morning. Maybe it was
Yeah.
Lords of the Night. But yeah, I remember hearing about that because it's like, well, I mean, the first thing I would have asked is like, hey man, am I gonna get any more time if I break into this car?
All right, let's see.
And Necrosol, it's really just a natural reaction to seeing the beard. Just call him a dude. But yeah, it's like three guys, and they all looked homeless.
Here's one from Pork Pork, who apparently wants us all to cry.
Okay, what's up?
Dog looks on his grave. Dog looks on as his grave is dug, but then the vet changed the diagnosis. If you're feeling a bit emotional, we've got a roller coaster story that you probably shouldn't read. A man started digging his dog's grave after being told it would have to be put down. The golden doodle even looked on, faithful as ever, at its final resting place was prepared. TV writer Franklin Hardy explained, the vet told my dad on the phone that his dog had to be put down and he'd come to his house to do it. My dad dug the dog's grave and let the dog watch. The family was distraught at the thought of losing their pet, speaking about the dog watching the grave digging on the farm in rural Virginia. Franklin's dad said it didn't bother him. It didn't seem to bother him. Was a little hard on me, though. But then things took a turn for the better. Franklin continued, then the vet came and checked on the dog and said it was a false alarm. Oops, dog's fine. Everything about this is insane. He later added, why would the vet sentence the dog to death over the phone? No idea. No idea, told my dad. He doesn't like the sound. Doesn't sound like a very good vet.
No shit.
Dad, he's a great vet. The dog's doing famously, according to Franklin. So yeah, that's weird.
So, well, wait. This was a different vet who came to the house, then told him over the phone that he needed to go ahead and start digging.
Yeah.
I call that first vet over to the house and just shove his ass in the hole.
Well, no, it's the same vet.
Okay, you lost me. So wait, same
Okay,
same
so
vet makes a phone call and then comes out to the house.
yep, makes the call that his dog's dying, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna come to the house and kill your dog, and then you can bury it." Hey, Sora Luna, how's it going?
Hey, Sora.
So yeah, he
if I spent all morning digging a hole to bury my dog on your say so, and then you just show up like, oh, false alarm, I'm gonna brain you with that fucking shovel.
That's gonna be your grave.
I'm not saying I'm gonna go ahead and kill you for that. No, no, that's too far. I am gonna whack you at least one time over the head with that shovel, though. And slap a little fucking sense into your head. How long did vets spend in school to get this shit right? That dude needs to go back. He needs a refresher course.
And yeah, either it sounds like he was misdiagnosed, or
Or that vet missed the day in school when they handled bedside manner.
yeah. Let's see.
Quiz is gonna be like Polly, isn't he? We're gonna sit here all morning just talking about random shit, waiting for him to show up.
Let's see. Phoenix father beats a man to death for accosting daughter in bathroom.
More power to him.
August 15th, 2018. I have not heard of this at all. See, a Phoenix father is facing second-degree murder charges for allegedly killing a man who allegedly harassed his young daughter. Police say Melvin Harris, 40, admitted to beating Leon Armstrong, 26, to death after he attempted to break into the teenage girl's stall at a Quick Trip convenience store bathroom. Harris was waiting for his daughter and her two friends in the store's parking lot when Armstrong approached his car asking for money. Harris gave him change, then Armstrong walked to the convenience store, police said. Soon after, Harris's daughter and her friends came out of the store and said the man had harassed them, according to the police report. Harris then went to the store and demanded that a security guard take action or else he'd take the matters into his own hands. Upon leaving the store, witnesses reported seeing Harris approach Armstrong, who he then punched in the face. Armstrong fell to the ground, and Harris proceeded to stomp, kick, and punch until he was unconscious before driving off. After the assault, Armstrong was taken to a hospital with injuries, including brain swelling and a broken nose. Harris initially faced aggravated assault charges, but they were upped to second-degree murder after Armstrong died. It's a horrible tragedy, and QT will continue to assist law enforcement with their investigation, said Mike Thornburg, whatever his name is, spokesman for Quick Trip. I wonder if there's an update to this.
Not guilty. That's what the update should be.
Yeah, no. Like, yeah.
I am praying for the day that I can get jury duty just so I can say that. Mr. Camel, is there any reason why you feel that you would not be an impartial juror, on this jury? Not guilty. That's why. You said this was in Phoenix?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm seriously doubting he's gonna get convicted for that. I get the feeling that there's gonna be, at most, I get the feeling they'll have like a deadlock jury and end up with a mistrial.
Hey, Lindsay, how's it going?
And in the event that happens, I seriously doubt the Phoenix DA's office is going to want to take another crack at that.
Yeah, worst case scenario, yeah, it's a hung jury.
Well, I mean, if that's the strangest things that happen at your quick trips, Lindsay, I'd say that you guys are pretty well off because people tend to get murdered at ours. One of our death row inmates a couple years ago, he spent over 20 years on death row after killing a guy that worked at a quick trip and robbing the place. And they finally, I think they finally executed him. I want to say about 2 years ago now, maybe 3. It's hard to remember.
I am trying to find. Let's see. Well, apparently they started a GoFundMe for him.
Good. If I had money, I would donate. I'm too busy trying to catch up on all my bills right now. But yeah, that was one of my biggest fears working the graveyard at a gas station. It's like, is this the night that I'm going to get murdered? Because let's face it, nothing good happens at 3 a.m. no matter where you are or what you're doing.
And see, when he, in this story, when he hears that he had died, Jackson says he actually broke down into tears.
See, I would have went Sam Jackson on that. I'm glad they're dead, and I hope they burn in hell.
Yeah, they died, and I hope they burn in hell. There's your sound clip right there. You get it from the movie. Said he suffered from schizophrenia. That's a likely excuse.
Well, he doesn't suffer from it anymore.
He's never considered a pedophile of any sort, says his aunt. Let's see. There's the story.
Yeah, I'll give you that one, Necrosol. There's only 2 states that kill more people than Oklahoma, and that is Texas and Virginia.
I see. He even gave the guy an out. He's like, "Hey, security guy, you do this or I do this." So clearly, the security guy didn't do this.
Yeah, I mean, that's like when I get into arguments with people about like guns. I'm not a gun owner. I've only ever shot one gun in my life, but I understand why people want them. Like, what's that saying? When life and death is a matter of seconds, the police are only minutes away. But nah, man, if you're messing with somebody's kid and they beat your ass to death for it, I don't blame them.
What's that? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Exactly, yeah. But no, man. All I say is, good for that dude for standing up and being a dad.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry, you're not wrong. The freaks do come out at night for night shifts.
yeah, the last job I worked was graveyard shift at a gas station, and every night I was sitting there thinking, like, is this the night that I get stabbed? Because there was a low income housing development right next to the place, and there had been like multiple stabbings in the past couple months before I left that job. And apparently folks are starting to save their money and buy guns, because there have been shootings here recently too.
Fun.
I think there have been 2 or 3 shootings in the past month or two. But thankfully now, speaking of the new job, I had my first pajama ninja come in there yesterday.
Nice.
And I say pajama ninja because he was wearing like camo pajamas. And not even like the forest green or anything like that. It was like navy camo.
So like
So like blue and gray and black with like the digi. So yeah. But I mean, I give him points for at least the top and bottoms matched. So he put more effort into it than most of my previous customers had.
Hey, Lindsay, you're in Arizona. Is there a way to search for something like that? Because there's the GoFundMe for Harris. I've already looked at that one.
Lindsay, I've got a funny story for you. Actually, when I was in college, there was a family that moved in to town from Arizona, and I think they moved in like over the winter. That story that Johnny was talking about, that's what he wants you to search for. If there's any updates to it. But yeah, this family moved in from Arizona, and they moved in like during the fall semester. Got settled in, and over the spring semester, that's when started hanging out with like the kids, college age kids. And me and some buddies took them to Lake Tenkiller here in Oklahoma to go cliff diving. And it was hilarious watching them trying to hike up to the cliff face to jump off into the lake. They were panting like Saint Bernards by the time we got up there, and it was only May. I want to say it was around Labor Day weekend, something like that, or Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, so it was like May. It wasn't even like the hottest time of the year, hottest time of the summer in Oklahoma. Just about ready to melt. I was like, you guys are from Arizona. I mean, it's only 80 degrees. Why are you guys acting like this? Like, it's the humidity. You guys got that dry heat. We've got a heat that sticks to you.
I don't like southern heat.
I joke that Oklahoma, it's like Florida without the coastline. Just that muggy, humid, just, yeah.
Let's see. Here's another one from Pork. Panic as EasyJet passenger tries to open door of packed plane at 30,000 feet. It kind of reminds me of that CSI episodes where everyone just beat the shit out of this guy, and as it turns out, he had that whole panic, that closed container panic attack.
Agoraphobia.
Yeah.
Why the fuck was he flying?
I have no idea.
No, the first thing I thought of was a Supernatural. You ever watch that show?
Yes, but I stopped around season 10.
The first 5 seasons, it was originally intended to be a 5-season series. The first 5 are great. After that, they start getting meta and everything. But yeah, this was a season 1 episode. Like it was a demon possessing people and causing plane crashes.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And you find out that Dean is a fear of flying. The only reason why I thought about that one was because of I got my mom started watching it. She's been having medical issues here lately, and so she's been on the mend, laid up at home. And so one night after work, I went over there to hang out with her and my grandmother, see how they were doing, and got her started. I think we went through like 8 or 9 episodes of season 1. I was like, oh shit, it's 8:30 in the morning. I should probably go home and get some sleep before I go to work tonight. So.
Me or Camel, Pork, because he was talking about Supernatural and I was talking about CSI.
Yeah, I don't know how either one of those sound anything like Dog the Bounty Hunter, but okay.
I like this for the South I've gone. Well, I guess I've been down to Carolina. in Tennessee, and I was sleeping in my car at that time, and I lost 20 pounds in the 2 weeks that I was in my car. Just living off of dry ramen uh, and and yeah, that's about it.
I think furthest south I've been is San Antonio, but I think the furthest north I've been probably Washington D.C.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy he served over in Kuwait,
Hmm.
and I was talking to him. I'm like that sand. I'm like that weather's got to be, you know, your skin's got to melt off you. And he goes, "Oh no, it'll bake before it even hits the ground." Like, because I mean, yeah, it's like 140 over there,
Oh yeah.
just ungodly hot.
Well, like yeah, I had a buddy. He served in like both Iraq and Afghanistan. You know, went through like grade school all the way through high school, and then he joined the army. And so like he went to both. And one time he came back, on leave. It's like, hey man, how's it going? And he heard somebody bitching about the weather here in Oklahoma. He just looked at me. He's like, fucking civilians. I was like, what? He's like, it's not as hot as Baghdad and it's not as cold as Afghanistan. I don't know what the fuck they're bitching about. It's like, fair enough.
Yeah, it's the only place you can go where like during the day it's like 120, like on the 140 is a bit much, but you go 120, and then at night it'll drop down to like it's the biggest drop, 120 in the shade. Yeah, still too hot. And if you want to be like, oh yeah, Hellcat's just a bitch because he doesn't like hot weather. I will admit that I have no shame.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. Like, I really hate the cold, but I will take the cold over the heat any day. Because I mean, at least you can layer up in the cold. There's only so many layers of clothing you can take off before you catch an indecent exposure charge. And Sora wants us to speak in metric. She seems to forget that we're Americans.
All right, we'll
We don't do that Celsius bullshit here in Freedom Land.
just as a reference though, Sora, it's 49 degrees Celsius.
And you just completely undercut what I just said. Thanks, Johnny.
Well, did the conversion.
Well, and Necrosol, he's got a pile on too.
We like to accommodate on this show.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, I like to accommodate on this show.
I don't even do my own IMDb searches when I start asking random ass questions about movies. Why would I convert Fahrenheit to Celsius?
I think that's oh. Okay, that's what I think should have been Captain Marvel. They popped up for I was when we were looking up IMDb stuff for
No, yeah.
Gal's face popped in, and I'm like, oh, she would have been the one I would have chose for Captain Marvel over Brie Larson. It was Emily Blunt.
Yeah, I could see that one.
But no, she wanted to be Mary
was
Poppins.
pretty she was pretty good doing action stuff, and was it The Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty all right. But
but no, she wanted to be Mary Poppins.
did you watch any of the NFL draft?
Um, I watched some of it because I was out at. Hey, Lindsay, how's it going?
Hey guys,
Hey, Lindsay.
nothing much. How you guys doing?
We're just sitting here shooting the shit, waiting for a quiz to show up.
Oh, nice, nice. Oh my god, I only got like 5, 6 hours of sleep. I was on 2 streams last night, and I don't know what it is. It's like, does anybody have that problem where it's like you end up staying up late and you end up waking up super early, but then when you go to bed at a decent time, for some reason you end up oversleeping.
I think it's more of a comfort for sure, because it's like, oh yeah, I've got nothing to do. Let's just crash out.
Well,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
when I woke up yesterday, I felt like the living dead. But that is not because I didn't get enough sleep. I actually got too much.
Oh yeah, that can happen where you'll get something like 12 hours of sleep and it felt like you only got like 5 or 6.
I think I got I think I got a solid 10 hours, and I didn't had no intention of that, but that was because of hubris on my part.
Mm-hmm.
See, we have the medical marijuana here now in Oklahoma, and because of my mom's health problems, she has her marijuana card now. And she comes to me all the time, like, "Hey, should I try this? Should I try that?" Because apparently, I'm the resident expert in our family. You know,
Mm-hmm.
from high school up until about 2 weeks ago, she gave me nothing but shit for it, smoking the devil's lettuce and all that jazz. But now, like I'm her own personal bud tender, pretty much. But no, she gave me one of her little edible candies. It was like a caramel flavored deal. It's supposed to be like 60 milligrams. She's like, I don't really like these. They kind of help with my pain, but I end up having like really dry mouth and everything.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I tried one of them, but I only took like, a part of it. They told me only do like a third of it. I was like, 60 milligrams? Oh, that's weak sauce. Here, let me have that. And so I took it after I got off work the other night, and I was playing some video games. I think I was listening to Minions, and then Monkey was about to get started with his Monkey in the Morning, and that's when it hit. And I was like, "Oh, I need to go lay down. I really need to go lay down." So I turned all the computer and everything off. I go lay down in bed. And I was like, "Yeah, this is going to be an interesting night."
Yeah, I've never tried edibles before, and honestly, I'm kind of a little terrified to try it because I heard it doesn't really hit you until like maybe a couple hours later or so.
Well, it takes longer to take effect because you're actually digesting it instead of inhaling it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you smoke it, it's going to be pretty well instantaneous. You know, whereas when you are digesting it, it breaks down differently. I think it's going you know it's a different chemical reaction.
Right.
It takes longer for it to start taking into effect, and it also lasts longer.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard.
So, like, yeah, I woke up like 11:30 the next morning, and I was just fuzzy, just like, oh, that probably should have only taken half of that.
Yeah, that's what happened to me on 420 last Saturday. It's I was probably blitzed off of my mind for like 5 hours, and I just remembered falling asleep, and I woke up and I was in that state where it's like, okay, am I still high or am I coming off of it?
Oh yeah, I didn't feel normal until about halfway through my shift at work yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't stoned. I was just like, ugh.
A friend of mine had what was it, a dirty work moment because he had heard horror stories about edibles, and so they bought a brownie when they were over in Washington, and he's just like, "Oh well, we'll try this, and I'm just gonna take this little kind of like this little corner piece, not
Mm-hmm.
even like the full brownie, like I'd say about an inch and a half square. He took maybe it's about a half an inch by half an inch, and took that in, and he's like, "Yeah, it wasn't too bad." And then about a half hour, 45 minutes in, he just passed out. He just all of a sudden just is that slow down, and then just I'm going to bed.
Yeah, that's why I don't really mess around with edibles because they just make me sleepy.
Hey Vincent, how's it going?
Hey, Vincent. No, it's like it was crazy because I remember the last time I got got a little stoned. I've I smoked so much I passed out, and I didn't even think that that was possible.
Oh, I've seen it happen firsthand. Back when I was in college, me and some buddies went to Florida for spring break, and we came back and we still had money left, believe it or not. So right after we got back was when 420 was rolling around. We pooled our resources and we bought a half pound of weed just for 420. And so we started smoking, all day that day. And by about evening time, it looked like the beach is a Normandy. Just everyone's just laid out. People are falling, sliding off the couch. One dude passed out mid bong hit. Like he takes his rip and as he's holding the smoke, he just starts leaning back, and thankfully somebody had the presence of mind to grab the bong, but nobody thought to, hey, maybe grab the dude. And so I think he was sitting on like a milk crate or something, and he just leaned back, and all of a sudden, boom, on the floor. And us being college kids, we're just like, so should one of us help him or? My buddy's just like, puff, puff, pass, dude. Keep the rotation going.
Well, and it's like it's so crazy because like when the effects started happening to me, I was just like it was so weird that I was still conscious enough to take another hit off of the pipe. Like I'm so scared that the thing would just fall out of my hands or somehow I would end up lighting myself on fire from the lighter. It's just amazing how much your brain can still be coherent enough to do something like that.
Yeah. Um, I just look back at all the stupid shit I did as a kid, and it's like, how am I still alive? How am I not in jail?
Yeah.
So, we got anything good on the Twitters?
Let's see.
But no, I asked you, Johnny, if you watched any of the draft because apparently another OU quarterback went number one. I think that's 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, let's see if he turns out like Johnny Manziel again.
No. That was Texas A&M. That was not OU. Baker Mayfield was the OU quarterback that went number one here recently.
Well, no, I mean, like, because they're usually like the number one draft picks are like everyone puts all their stock into these guys, and then when they play in the pros, they're just absolute shit.
Yeah.
Brady Quinn and Johnny Manziel.
Don't forget Ryan Leaf.
We don't talk about him. He is also a Montanan.
Jamarcus Russell. That's another one.
No, I took my girlfriend out to dinner because I just got off of work, and there were all these like lights and fireworks going off, and I'm like, "What's going on over there?" And then I'm like, "Oh, it's the draft." So there was that. That's as much of the draft as I watched. Is a lot
Yeah.
of.
I never understood wanting to sit down and watch the draft. You know?
I agree with Bill Burr's joke on the draft. Um, After they freaked out about Michael Sam kissing his boyfriend,
Oh.
he's like, "Yeah, I should have blown him." Like, it's like that's what you get for watching the draft. Yeah, you should have blown him with carrying a wearing a birthday hat and a white and an American flag. Anything else to ruin an American holiday?
See, and I don't know. I don't know anything about football. I don't know anything about the NFL draft. So this kind of it's this talk is all kind of foreign to me.
Well, the NFL draft is really simple. You've got all these kids from universities across the country either sitting. Usually they do it in New York. I think they did it in Nashville this last one. I don't know why, but apparently they did. But usually you've got them sitting in a room in New York, or they've got cameras all across the country at these houses or wherever else they're staying, waiting for the phone call to say, "Hey, you want to come play for this team?" And you see them cry when they get selected, and that's it. That's really it. They might show some highlights from like their college playing to show you how good they are or whatever. But it is boring as shit, and I don't know why anybody would want to watch that. Like I don't even really watch NFL football. I watch college football from time to time,
Hmm.
but that's more interesting.
Yeah, it's
So
like I don't understand the concept of football. I mean, I understand like getting to the touchdown and stuff like that, but when you're talking about like interception and first down and shit like that, I'm like, yeah, that just kind of flies over my head. Hey, I can understand basketball though.
Yeah, here's his quote. What kind of fucking loser just sits around watching after watching round after round? That's like going to a graduation ceremony where you don't know anybody who's graduating and they're and just fucking sitting there. They're gonna have a whole list the next day. They'll have everyone who drafted and when uh, they'll have everybody who drafted. Wow, they really need commas.
oh, is this somebody quoting Bill Burr?
Yeah, they'll have everybody who drafted who. Okay. Uh, when dot dot dot. Fucking gotta sit there and watch this shit. Okay, apparently you edited a lot of it out.
It's like,
Yeah. Also, it's the fact that he's a Boston comic, so you really need to make sure your punctuation game's on point when you're trying to quote somebody from that background.
And there's another um, rugby is better. Um, I'm not going to disagree because I've never watched a rugby game. But
Oh, apparently Samantha Bee is in the news again.
Oh, geez, what on earth has she done this time?
This one comes to us from the Hill by way of somebody retweeting Kate Hyde. I'm unfamiliar with her, but was it Samantha B says on the inside, Sarah Sanders is hideous as a pinworm in an anus. Oh,
I think
there's
I
one
think
of the dogs.
I think she's
You
also
mentioned Sam B, and then your dogs go off. There's something going on there.
Well, and didn't she also call Sarah Sanders a feckless cunt?
No, she called Ivanka Trump a feckless cunt.
Oh.
Yeah,
And then
comedian
apologize
Sam
for it.
B. Yeah, and then apologize for it. Comedian Sam B on Friday night said she wasn't planning to host her raunchy, no holds barred, not the White House Correspondents' Dinner ever again. But then the White House Correspondents Association decided to eliminate the comedic roast portion of its annual dinner. The full frontal host, wearing a sleek black pantsuit with shimmery stripes, told a room of politicos and journalists gathered at, I guess it's DAR Constitution Hall on Friday, that she was incensed by the White House Correspondents Association's decision to invite a historian rather than its typical comedian, accusing the Press Association of bending to the president's will. Our president tweeted the White House Correspondents' Dinner should change, and they did it, B told the crowd at her second mock White House Correspondents' Dinner, which included top journalists and entertainment figures. No one should ever do what the president tweets at them, she declared. A comedian has traditionally been invited to the WHCA dinners to roast the administration on topical matters. But after an uproar over comedian Michelle Wolf's controversial set at the dinner last year, the association shifted gears and invited historian Ron Chernow to headline this year's gathering.
Hey, Little Giant Jay, how's it going?
Hey, little Giant J.
I mean, are we really going to blame Trump? She wasn't funny. She wasn't.
No.
And her voice is like nails on a fucking chalkboard. And I have to assume that is a put on. There's no way that's her natural voice.
It's if those nails on the chalkboard spelled out abortion.
God, it's like that's the problem with these people who lean more progressive in their politics. It's like whatever happened, because liberals used to be funny at one point. And then they just decided, oh, we're going to get woke.
Oh my God, their kids are hyphenated.
Whose? What?
Samantha B and Jason Jones. They hyphenated their kids' names.
They're both Canadians and feminists, so yeah. I'm not surprised. B promised the audience of more than 2,000 at her event on the eve of the dinner that she would give them the night of brutal honesty and comedic shticks that she thought they deserved, aided by fellow entertainment bigwigs such as Robert De Niro and West Wing star Bradley Whitford. If you guys don't remember who Bradley Whitford is, he's the villain in Billy Madison.
Yes. He was also the villain in Revenge of the Nerds 2.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie because I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was
oh crap, there was a secondary title. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Nerds in Paradise. That's what it was. Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. Yeah, that was a movie I watched a lot as a kid. So
actually I got Booger's autograph at the Emerald City Comic-Con.
Oh, Curtis Armstrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
See, for the longest time, I thought of him as Booger, and now I think of him as Metatron on Supernatural.
Yeah. Well, and it's really funny because he's like, well, you seem like you would be a little too young to be watching Revenge of the Nerds. And I go, I was 6. Like, of course I was. Like,
well, and it's funny because technically the second movie was, I believe it was either PG or PG-13. It wasn't a adult like the first movie was, but
Let's see.
Oh my! But they had 2,000 people at this event. They had Robert De Niro. The evening kicked off with an intro video parodying Aliens 2, featuring actress Sigourney Weaver as she pleaded with B to come back to Earth to host the dinner.
oh Jesus.
The most important thing there is. MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle and Ari Velshi made guest appearances in the apocalyptic video alongside veteran journalist Katie Couric, who deadpanned, "I'd rather get another televised colonoscopy than ever cover the 2020 election." Wait, Katie Couric had a televised colonoscopy?
Yeah, on CBS News. It was one of her first when she hosted the show by herself. It's right after she went from NBC to CBS. I believe she did the colonoscopy. It's like, here, let's take a look at my butthole.
You know, they don't even get that invasive in porn. Why was this on the fucking news?
Because they're journalists. Journalists feel that they're important. That
Never mind.
they're
I was wrong. It was before she went to CBS.
Ugh.
she did correspondence for the Today Show for a while, didn't she? I could have sworn
Samantha Bee?
No. Oh, I was thinking Katie Couric.
No, Katie Couric was host of the Today Show.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I
for
thought.
some reason, I was thinking The Daily Show. I don't know why I got those wires crossed.
Well, because I remember I used to watch the Today Show. That's the first thing that I would watch getting up to go to school and, getting ready to go to school in the morning. I mean, I remember when Matt Lauer was first on the Today Show. And of course, look at what happened with him.
Let's see.
De Niro rounded out the night with a diatribe against Trump, who he called a relentless, unrepentant, lying scumbag. The Taxi Driver star, a vocal critic of Trump, called the Mueller report a greatest hits album for journalists. The full Not the White House Correspondents' Dinner will air on Saturday night at the same time as the actual White House Correspondents Association dinner. And I'm willing to bet you nobody will watch that either. But my God. Ugh.
It's like, was it the Tonys or the Oscars where he just went up on stage and just said, "Fuck Trump"?
I want to say it was the Tonys. And yeah, he said "fuck Trump" and he gave the double gun salute.
Well, here's the.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
I was following a thread on Twitter, going through Jason Jones's Twitter, like following from there. Or I'll share it. Start up at this. And then
Eric Schneiderman. Yeah.
Yeah. And then full frontal with Samantha Bee. And then Jason Jones, because that was tweeted by James Woods. Hashtag join us, James Woods. Yeah.
Hashtag free Reese's Pieces.
And then he did a jab because of Bill Cosby.
Ay, vey.
I think if I remember correctly, she was set to get one anyway. The colonoscopy there, sort of. And I guess never one to shine down an opportunity. She's like, hey, let's go televise this.
That's ridiculous.
And what I could guess is that she was trying to think of a story of what to come up with, and her cat jumped on her lap. And so she started petting her cat, and once got to the point where she hit that tailbone when the butt goes up, she's like, colonoscopy, got it. Except for not for your cat.
What the hell is this with Pork saying Barbara Streisand should play Captain Marvel? I'm like, thanks for the thought. Actually, maybe she might be a better Captain Marvel than fucking Brie Larson, but
I thought his idea of Betty White was actually pretty good.
that sells me right there. I would totally get on board with Captain Marvel if you bring Betty White into it.
Well, and Vincent Veritas said Caitlyn Jenner should play Captain Marvel.
Oh, gee.
Would you go, buckle up, buckaroos?
Speaking of which, did you guys see Endgame?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay.
I'm hoping to see it on my days off next week.
Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't really been paying much attention to. I've only seen maybe a couple movies in the MCU, but obviously I've been following the drama surrounding Captain Marvel and with her origins movie, and then with her appearance in Endgame.
And then her interaction with God, what's his name? I can't think of his name now.
Hemsworth?
Not Hemsworth, but
Don Cheadle?
Cheadle. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that extremely awkward interview that
Where
one
she,
guy from yeah.
where she nudges him and he's like, "I told you not to touch me." Like,
I don't know if you guys saw it, but there's a video on YouTube. I believe the person's name is Body Language Ghost. I guess she's an expert in body language. She did an analysis of that interview, and her commentary is pretty interesting.
My favorite one was the oh dear God. No, my favorite one was the Jeremy Renner clip that she was in with him.
Oh God, the shade that he threw at her was just that was spectacular.
Oh,
it was hilarious without him saying a word before he even answered the question. Just seeing the camera, like on him while she's sitting there talking was hilarious. And then his answers like, "Yeah, I'm responsible for myself. I don't see celebrity as being a platform to be more responsible. So yeah."
Mm-hmm. Oh God, that was brilliant. Well, and then there's this one channel I'm subscribed to by the name of Mecha42. She does a lot of the commentary on Star Trek, and she's also covered like the drama surrounding Brie Larson and stuff like that. And she did a comparison between interviews with Jeremy Renner and Paul Rudd and some of the other cast members, and like the chemistry between the two was, you could tell that they were very close. But then it's like you see this interview clip with him and Brie Larson, and it's like there's no he's not comfortable.
And that stems back from when he did the interview on the Age of Ultron,
Mm-hmm.
when they were talking about Black Widow and Hulk being they were shipping them, and he goes, "Yeah, Black Widow's just a slut," and just the outrage, and he's just like, "Yeah, I don't care," like just the sheer, I just love it, just the don't give a fuck of it.
I remember the first time that I saw Jeremy Renner in something that really like got my attention. Like he'd been famous, for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But let me see if I can find it here. When would this have been? Oh, is that Neo Ned? It's a movie from 2005. And like one day, me and my dad were just flipping through the channels on a weekend, and came across this. It had Jeremy Renner and Gabrielle Union. Okay.
I remember you talking about this before.
Here's a summary. Like most kids, Ned idolized his father and dreamed of following in his footsteps. Unfortunately, his father was a two-bit crook who spent most of his life in jail. Without a family of his own, Ned falls in with the Aryan Brotherhood. Soon after, Ned is placed in a mental hospital where he is mesmerized by a young black girl who believes Adolf Hitler was reincarnated in her. What follows is a gritty character study and poignant love story of two people brought together by seemingly impossible connection. As a result of the connection, they both find that there is more to a person than what is on the surface. Yeah, we saw, whatever, summary they had for it on the TV, and it's like, that sounds weird. Let's watch that. And it was actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I will stand by my thought that The Bourne Legacy was underrated.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent movie. Yeah.
I mean, it could have been better, but it was still, it wasn't the. I think people were more pissed that it had the word "born" in it and it didn't have Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
I knew that would come in handy at some point.
Not the Bourne Legacy. This isn't the Ron Jeremy movie.
I need to get a wah wah pedal sounder.
Is that the name of your sex tape, Sora?
I bet she did her own stunts and everything in that one too.
Yes, she did do her own stunts. Thank you very much.
Oh, that girl is
The fourth. There's an anthology.
A bland, entitled piece of toast? Is that what you meant, Camel?
Well, I've said it before. The only thing I remember ever seeing her in was 21 Jump Street. I could not tell you anything else she's been in.
Yeah, we looked up her IMDb, and the only thing that we caught her in was Room and 21 Jump Street.
Wait, she was on was it Kong Skull Island or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, never saw that one.
She was in Scott Pilgrim versus the World too.
I did see that one, but I don't remember her at all. So
that's why it's like, it was especially funny when that one guy responded to Netflix's Twitter account about them promoting her movie. And he said something along the lines of that she should take cues from, oh God, I forgot that one guy's name. Why am I drawing a blank? This guy who was once kind of overweight. He was in Superbad.
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. Yeah. That she should take cues from Jonah Hill, where he was Martin Scorsese's apprentice, and how Netflix just responded back by listing her entire resume. It's like, really? I mean, it's like she only had one directing credit. It's like that's not very impressive. And also all the stuff that she's been in, nobody really remembers her in anything. So
no,
it's like, you know what she is? She's this decade's Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I could totally see it.
So, and if she continues to have this reputation, she's going to end up like Katherine Heigl, where she's not going to have any work and she's going to end up becoming irrelevant to the public eye.
Was she part of the vegan squad? Yes, she was
It's the vegan squad.
in Scott Pilgrim versus the
Oh.
World. Yeah, my friend's telling me that the end game is awesome.
Well, I would hope, you know.
Yeah, I was a little worried about a certain thing, and my worries seem to have been relieved from what I've been hearing about the movie. But also at the same time, I heard it does kind of establish the new phase of the MCU, which is probably not going to go well.
Probably not.
Yeah, I think I mean, Kevin Feige did come out and say that he wants more quote unquote representation in the MCU. It's like, okay, so you're basically going the way of SJW Marvel Comics. Great. Well, good luck with that.
Okay, I got a question. None of us have seen her Academy Award winning turn in the movie Room,
No.
right?
Mm-mm.
Has anybody, either on stream or in the chat, heard her music?
No.
That's a thing.
In addition to her talents as an actress, Brie has simultaneously nurtured an ever-growing musical career. At 13, Brie landed her first record deal at Universal Records when Tommy Mottola, who signed her sight unseen. Her first release in 2005 led to a nationwide tour.
Holy shit! Brie Larson finally out of PE. The teeny bopper album you've been waiting for.
Oh, Jesus.
You mean an EP?
PE.
Oh no, PE. It is. Do they even call it PE anymore? Like,
Oh, I still call it PE. Necrosol said, I only heard her sing in Scott Pilgrim. See, and I haven't seen Scott Pilgrim, so. You know, it's funny. And she's supposed to be, what, 29, 30, and she looks like a housewife in her mid 40s.
Yeah, she turns 30 in October.
She's got that I want to speak to your manager type of appearance.
I think that's been the running joke on comic book curation. I think that's what Jack's. I think that's Jack's go-to.
I'm surprised Jack hasn't said that she's a reptilian at this point.
I think that would be offensive to reptilians.
No shit. Oops.
But yeah, 13 years old, you land a record deal sight unseen.
well, that was back when they had like, Mandy Moore and shit going. They were trying to keep that going, I'm sure.
Wait, okay, she's my age, so 13. That would have been what? 2003, 2004, 2004.
Seriously, Camel? And I thought you were older.
Yeah, I just turned 30 a couple months ago.
Wow.
The song "Hope Has Wings" was featured on 2005 animated Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus.
It just keeps getting worse.
And yet the media is trying to prop her up as the next best thing since sliced bread.
Now, see, here's the funny thing though, because you guys are commenting about how I seem older. The funny thing is like when people see me, in real life, and I tell them how old I'm, like, wow, you don't look that old.
Okay,
Like,
so basically you look like you're 16 then.
Well, I don't know if the last time I told someone like I worked with like how old I was a few years ago, and they thought I was in my early 20s. So
Wow.
I don't look that young, but I mean, at the same time, I have started growing out the facial hair, and I quit cutting my hair, so I don't know. I might look older now.
She had a song written for her by Avril Lavigne.
Wait, Avril Lavigne wrote a song for her
Yeah.
The
to
skater
perform?
girl.
Like for her to perform, or just like dedicated to her?
I think it was written for her to perform. Because yeah, it's either that or it's a cover.
Oh, that's nice.
Let's get rid of the colonoscopy and do some other searching.
Yes, Necrosol, I can relate to that because I definitely feel old now knowing what Camel's age is. Oh my god, it's like I'm going to be 37 this year, but I mean, luckily I suppose I have pretty young genes because I've had people tell me that I look younger than what I am, so
Oh no, it's a cover.
What I think is really funny is that I
I'd better look at the colonoscopy.
what Brie Larson's colon what would go from Brie Larson to colonoscopy? She just
Well, because my browser was at Katie Couric's colonoscopy, and then switched over to the music history of Brie Larson. And I'm like, well, I'd rather look at the colonoscopy.
need a palate cleanser after that, huh? No, what I think is funny is I don't get ID'd very often, but when I do, I love it now.
Oh, so do I. It's like I look forward to when people because I still get carded and I look forward to that because I'm like, there's going to be a day where I'm going to miss getting carded.
What I thought was really funny is I did a sting operation when I was in my early 20s. It wasn't like for the government; it was for the actual company. They're doing quality control, making sure their employees were IDing people. And for the most part, everyone did what they were supposed to do. I'd go in, try and buy like a 6-pack of beer or a pack of cigarettes, and they'd ask me for my ID. And I was like, okay, cool. They're doing their job. I got my job. Awesome. Get toward the end of the day, and like the second or third to last person who's supposed to ID me, they didn't ID me. So I've got to go through this whole process. I got to give them this card, explain to them, hey, you got to give this to your manager, so that way they know that you didn't ID me when you should have. And instead of being like, oh, okay, well, I screwed up, shit, she's like, you don't look 30. Or no, she said, you looked like you were over 30 to me. I was like 23. I was like, fuck you, bitch. I hope you get fired.
I'm going to give this to your manager directly then.
St. Foggy, I'm impatient. I hate being carded. I'm impatient too, but I mean, I'm not looking forward to that period when I'm gonna not get carded because then that just really cements just how old I am.
Yeah, it kind of goes from when you first get carded, you're like, yeah, I'm an adult. And then you're like, okay, yeah, it's still cool. I'm getting carded, whatever. And now it's just like, now I have to go to my wallet, pull out my ID, show you this, and then put it all back and hope that it fits back where I put it in the first place.
Yeah, but it's like you're still gonna have to pull out your wallet anyways because you got to pull out your cash or pull out your credit card.
I actually keep my stuff in my pocket. That way, if I get my wallet lifted, the only thing they get is my ID.
Yeah, but then what if somebody actually reached into your pockets and pulled out your stuff?
Yeah, good luck. My response time is way more. They will like. I kind of have a thing
And I
where
see,
like if someone touches me, I usually like just initially react to where it's like, oh, it's just you. Never mind.
and I see Brie Larson is fucking up one of my theories.
Oh, and what's that?
I had a theory because I was born in '89, and that was the same year that the Berlin Wall started opening up. And my theory was that those of us that were born before the wall started coming down shouldn't be counted with those that were born after. Like for like the millennials,
Mm-hmm.
I would joke with like my dad and other people that were older than me that that was the dividing line between those of us that had our shit together and those of the same generation that were the pussies. Well, the Berlin Wall started coming down in November, and Bree was born in October. So she's throwing a monkey wrench into my theory here.
They call that in the science field an outlier.
Well, see, and that's what I hear this talk about generations and stuff like that, and I get so confused because it seems like people can't seem to determine where the line is drawn between the Gen X and millennial. Because I mean, when I think of millennial, I think of anyone that was growing up in the new millennia. So anyone born like late 80s, early 90s, they were kids growing up in 2000. But yet, for some reason, I've seen them put 82 or 83 as the start of the new of the millennials, and I'm like,
well,
okay.
it's if I'm not mistaken, it's 82 to 2000. And people born between 1982 and 2000 are considered millennials, or what they try to call them Gen Y.
Uh-huh.
And then after 2000, that's when Gen Z started.
Well, it seems to fluctuate. It's like I've seen 82 as the start, and then I've seen 85 or 83 or 85 as the start. I'm like, just make up your dang minds. I'm like, I don't consider myself a millennial because I literally legally turned an adult around the time that 2000 hit.
Yeah. Well, I was always in the impression it was 82 to 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that would make sense. You're graduating high school at the turn of the new millennium. So
right,
and what I think is hilarious is that people are still bitching about millennials. When they're talking about obviously the new generation, which at this point we're getting to the point where we're going past Gen Z now.
Yep.
I mean, what are they going to call the kids that are being born, in 2018, 2019, and onward? They're going to have to come up with some new shit for that because we are all out of letters already.
Yep. Well, no, because it's like, okay, so like the first recorded generation was the greatest generation, as they called it, and then it was the baby boomers, and then it seemed like they changed it to, after that, Gen X, and then I remember Generation Y, and now they call it.
If I'm not mistaken, before the greatest generation, you had the silent generation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what they called them before that, but I mean, you had like World War I and the parents of the greatest generation.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the silent generation.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and then there's a what they call, I think it's called a micro generation, which I fall into. Is like from like 1977 to 1982, 83, where they call them Zennials. I'm like, now that sounds more appropriate because the way how they describe Zennials is growing up. It's like analog childhood, digital adulthood. Which that makes perfect sense because when I was growing up, I remembered the stuff that millennials really are not aware about. Like I remember when we had the corded phones, and even I know how to operate a rotary phone, and we had the cassette tape and stuff like that.
Well, hold on. And the I remember all that just fine. And here's why. If you grow up poor,
yeah,
you grow up behind the times. So growing up in a small town in Oklahoma while being poor is like growing up 20 years in the past.
That's very true.
So I grew up with, corded phones, rotary phones, because, I had a Walkman as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to drive stick shift. I learned all that stuff that hardly anybody of my generation knows how to do these days.
Yep.
I remember, my time down in Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, listening to the radio. And you guys ever heard of the band Edema?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Okay.
Oh, I think I
Well,
remember you telling me the story. Go ahead.
yeah, when their first album came out, first radio album came out, I heard it on the radio in Nashville, and I've always given Montana shit for being, behind the times, and I think it was once like the internet is the best thing to happen to Montana. Like honestly, 'cause I think this is just as as far as Montana goes. Um, we were still in dial-up when everyone was getting DSL and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so, yeah, I was down there. I heard the band. I was like, oh, my friends are gonna love this. And then I got sick and ended up coming back home. And I was like, oh, have you guys heard this band Edema? And they're like, no, we've never heard of them. Like, it must be some local thing that you heard. And I go, no, it's on the radio. And then it was 2 weeks later that our classic rock station played it. And like, yeah, this is a debut song from this band. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? 2 weeks? And so, yeah, that's when I came up with Montana's slogan. Welcome to Montana. We just found the Rubik's Cube. And yeah, it's crazy how slow information gets here. And now that we have, access to actual internet stuff, when something happens, we can actually hear about it.
Right.
What I think is funny is even with all of the new technology, like every now and then, just to keep them on their toes, I will call into my local classic rock station to request a song. And I called in this one time, and I requested was it Led Zeppelin? Which song was it? No Quarter. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so the dude, he's like, okay, give me a second. I'll see if I can find it. And he comes back on the phone. He's like, yeah, I can't find the song. Is there anything else you want to request? I was like, okay, how about Over the Hills and Far Away? He's like, okay, give me a second. He's like, okay, found it. It'll be on the air here in a little bit. So I hang up the phone, and as soon as I hit, end call, I was like, wait a second. Those are on the same fucking album. It's literally the A side and the B side. Like, how can you find one and not the other?
You want to know what really weirds me out? I remember I was driving home from work one time, and there's this one oldie station that I have programmed onto my car stereo. And I mean, this is an oldie station. This is a station I remember as a kid that played music back in the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. That's what they classified as oldies. And sure enough, on the radio, they start playing Alanis Morissette's One Hand in My Pocket. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is not, no way. This was like 25 years ago, something like that. That's now considered old.
Yeah. I think it was. Oh yeah, 2003. Our classic rock station just started. They just started playing new rock because we actually had a radio station startup that was playing, more metal and punk rock. Well, not even punk rock stuff. People still don't play that around here. But more like metal and hard rock stuff. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll call this radio station, being that it's local, and we're not going to. Yeah, back when we still didn't have an ability to call someplace outside of the city, it was still considered long distance. And I asked if they could play anything by the Offspring, and they're like, well, we have Gone Away. We can play that one. And I go, well, that's kind of a downer. Like, is there anything, like Genocide or Bad Habit? And he's like, oh yeah, we'll come up with something. He's like, is this a request? Or I go, yeah, just yeah. So they went and he's like, oh yeah, we'll have it playing after. I think they said it was Godsmack that they were playing.
Mm-hmm.
And they played Godsmack, and I never heard the song. They didn't play anything. Like, I'm like, that's a dick move.
Yeah, and you are right about even radio stations here don't really play a whole lot of punk. I mean, there's one hard rock station that I listen to that I guess they do play some punk rock, but it's not until like really late at night. And then, with the exception of bands like Bad Religion, I remember I used to listen to Bad Religion on this one alternative radio station back in the 90s. And now I barely even hear them on the radio anymore.
Yeah, let's see. I had a TV that had like an app that you can listen to any of the radio stations on there, like throughout the country.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, I always hear about how K-Rock in Los Angeles is the greatest radio station ever. And I was able to pick it up. And yeah, they played Less Than Jake. They played Bad Religion, good Green Day.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Social Distortion, stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. This is what we should play.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just requesting any of that stuff at the classic rock stations. No, nothing. We've never heard of them.
Yeah, I remember we had an alternative rock station back in the 90s, which played all sorts of, I mean, besides just alternative rock, they played some punk and stuff like that. And that's how I found out about bands like Bad Religion and Social Distortion. And, oh God, there was another band that I'm really into. Or I heard a couple of their songs on one of the hard rock stations. God, why am I? Their name will come to me eventually.
No, our local classic rock station here in my area, they are pretty good about keeping it to, classic rock. But every now and then they'll slip in a song or two from, my opinion is classic rock, like anything, like a classic car, classic music, it's got to be at least 25 years old, right? That's how you know that it's classic. It's had staying power enough to last a quarter of a century. And you guys ever hear that Kid Rock song? Was it like All Summer Long or whatever?
Yeah.
Where he samples like Leonard Skinner and Warren Zevon. They'll play that song from time to time, and it pisses me off every fucking time. Because I'll hear that start up, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I get to hear Werewolves of London. I haven't heard that in a while." And then it's fucking Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Oh, Suicidal Tendencies. That's the band that I was talking about.
And then another one they'll play is like Nickelback. It's like, that's nowhere near classic rock. Why are you doing this to me?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's getting close to 20 years since the Nickelback's first big hit. So,
and I don't know a single person that would admit to buying anything more than their debut album.
Yeah. And I'm kind of with Monkey on that I think Nickelback really gets a lot of bad rap. I mean, I think there's a couple songs that I will admit that I like, but
I'm going nuclear.
You're going nuclear.
I said to hang out in the chat.
I regret nothing.
Look at what you've made us do, quiz.
I'm going to tweet it out too. I regret nothing.
Damn you, Sora.
Oh shit! Now I'm gonna have that song in my head. Great, thanks, Sora.
Oh, god damn it. No, actually, another downfall with Montana is that we don't get a lot of big names coming through, at least between. I'm like, our capital city gets nothing. Like we had Jerry Seinfeld perform twice years ago, and we had Carlin before he passed away, and that's about it.
Oh
Like
Jesus!
that's the biggest stuff to come, and that's in the capital city. Like all the other big stuff comes in like Missoula, Bozeman, down in Butte, up in Great Falls, and that's like the epicenter right there.
Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ! I almost read Saint Fugi's comment as Nickelodeon is trash. I'm like, well, current Nickelodeon is trash, but certainly not in the '90s.
No, I had a song stuck in my head the other day to get us off of Nickelback. I was at work and like I'm the only guy at my job, literally the only dude that works there, and I work with one of two women in the evenings, depending on scheduling. They're both younger than me. One's only a couple years younger. The other one is like 8 years younger. So I was working with the younger one the other night, and I had this song just stuck in my head, and it's one of those songs where like you only really know like the chorus, you can't remember the lyrics, and so you just have the chorus just stuck on a loop in your head, just over and over and over. And finally, I mentioned something, I was like, "Man, I don't know why I've got this song stuck in my head." She goes, "Well, what song is it?" I was like, "Still Fly, Big Timers." She goes, "I've never heard that one." I was like, "It's like 2000, early 2000s hip hop." She goes, "Oh, well, I mean, I like 2000s music." I was like, "How's it go?" And so I just gave her like the one little bit that I could remember. Was it "Can't pay my rent, all my money spent, but that's okay because I'm still fly. Got a quarter tank of gas in my new E-Class." And that's literally all I can remember from the song.
See, and I'm with Saint Fugi. I'm stuck in the '90s when it comes to music, like '90s before. Although I think there was some music in the early 2000s that was pretty good, but other than that, it's like, eh.
I'm just waiting for the new Tool album.
Yeah,
They're supposed to have one coming out this year, unless that was a joke they pulled on their Facebook page, which I would not be surprised.
yeah. Maynard's known for being quite the troll, so which kind of sucks because I mean that there's one band right there that has not failed or has never failed me.
But think about that: 13 years. Their
Mhm.
last album came out in 2006.
Was it really that long?
10,000 Days came out in
Oh my
2006.
God. Shit.
But this is also a band that gets sued left, right, and center too. That's part of the reason why they hadn't come out with new music. They were sued by
Oh.
a buddy, like an artist, or maybe that's why they had the layoff between Lateralis and 10,000 Days.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember, but yeah, they've had a. I think that they got sued by an artist that did some work for them, and then they ended up getting sued by their insurance company that they had hired to insure them against getting sued.
Whoa.
It seems he got swept up in the Me Too movement.
Who did?
Oh yeah, I remember that, but
Oh, Maynard?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that really stuck though, did it?
No, it didn't, because Maynard flat out denied it. He's like, "You're full of shit."
Yeah, and that's
like,
exactly
good
what
for
you
him.
should do in those scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Tool, Perfect Circle, and
Pussifer.
Pussifer. Frontman Mayor James Keenan is denying rape allegation made on social media last week from like 2018. June 11th, 2018. Um, calling it a despicable false claim. In a Twitter post on the 28th, Keenan wrote, "Many thanks to those who saw right through this despicable false claim that only does damage to the hashtag MeToo movement. And shame on those for shame on you who perpetuate this destructive clickbait. As for my delayed but unrequired response, I had my phone off. You should try it." Let's see. On June 22nd, anonymous Twitter user. Okay, right there. Anonymous Twitter user. I was 17. He was 36. Shared an alleged story from 2000 when A Perfect Circle was on tour with Nine Inch Nails. She wrote that the 36-year-old singer noticed her in the crowd when she was watching with her boyfriend and threw a water bottle in her direction. Soon thereafter, she said a woman from Keenan's crew approached her and asked if she would like to meet the band. The woman only had one pass, so whoever that is said she told her boyfriend that she would be right back and was allegedly escorted backstage where Keenan was sitting on a picnic table and staring at her. She says Keenan signed an autograph on her hand and asked how old she was. She told him she was 17. From there, she claims he told her, I can't talk to you here. Let's go watch a movie." And pulled her to his tour bus. He allegedly led her to a bed in the back and put on a film before he started rubbing her neck and taking his pants off. All I could do was sit there, looking at the movie, unable to move. She then claims he raped her without a condom, giving her HPV in the process.
I'm calling shenanigans on all of that.
I don't remember the next few minutes, but I do remember this. My boyfriend was waiting for me at the doorway where I had been led. His face was sick with worry. I didn't want to upset him, so I kept it to myself. It seems like
Why didn't you go to the cops?
In 2000, mind you.
So she's about my age. Yeah, I actually went to the Nine Inch Nails Perfect Circle tour. I remember that tour. But still, it's this just. And I'm trying not to victim blame, but I just don't understand this. If something happens to you, if you've been assaulted, I don't understand not going to the police.
Because they'd rather take it to Twitter court. That's why. I mean, they think they can get some clout by accusing somebody who has a name of doing something. They can get sympathy, they can get followers, they can get clicks. It's that simple.
But it's like, first of all, you're not going to get any real justice if you go on Twitter and somehow try to ruin the person's name with no actual evidence. And then secondly, you're also putting other people at risk by not reporting it, because then that gives the person you're accusing to go out and commit bad acts on other people.
Yeah, Korn's still good.
I love Korn.
I'll stick with that.
Yeah.
I went and saw them down in Butte a couple years ago. And that was actually when they had Head back in the band too.
Yeah, I remember the Korn Family Values tour back in the mid to late 90s. I was so close to going to that, and I'm so bummed that I never got to go. Because it was like Korn, Limp Bizkit, Rammstein, and Orgy. And Rammstein's one of my favorite bands.
Well, aside from Limp Bizkit, that sounds like a pretty good lineup.
You know what? I'd say Limp Bizkit is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I'm not gonna lie, I do like some of their songs.
They have some good songs out there, but I
Yeah,
They
mean,
do have some good songs. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying they don't.
I mean,
I think for me, Limp Bizkit has the same problem that Nickelback does.
yeah,
Douchey front man.
that's true.
I
And
think
like I,
the
I remember I remember stories coming out about him like before the internet got real big. Like wasn't it some of the guys from Korn saying that Fred Durst offered to like do tattoos for him,
yeah, that's how they got started.
and like he's like a shitty tattoo artist. Although I do give him props for being a prior service. He was in the Navy, so can't shit on him for that.
I would love to go to a Ramstein show,
Oh, I know.
but it would have to be like a main tour show, not one
Yeah.
of like the side shows that they do. Because that's typically what we get. Like Five Finger Death Punch comes here regularly,
Hmm.
but the way they present their shows, it's like they're here by obligation and not because they want to.
Well,
So
and
like they'll just phone it in.
and then the problem is also with Rammstein is that it's pretty rare. Like I can't even recall the last time they've done a complete US tour where they've toured like every city.
Yeah, it's mainly this like the main money making shows
Hmm. Oh, you mean like the big
or cities.
festival shows and stuff, right?
Yeah, where
Yeah.
they do like the flamethrower shit that they usually do.
Oh, and apparently they released a new album, which I didn't know about, which is awesome because I think their last album was, oh geez, probably like late 2000s, early 2010, something like that. I have 3 of their records. And then Korn. I remember the first time I heard Korn, their self-titled album. And the first time I heard Shoots and Ladders, that song just really blew my mind with like the bagpipe intro and stuff.
Hmm. I have to admit, my music knowledge is not nearly as deep as my movie knowledge. And as Johnny will attest, the movie knowledge is starting to fade.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Well, I can't keep up with movies nowadays. I guess I'm kind of stuck in the past.
Yeah, I've gotten to that point too, where it's like I know what I like. I don't have to go searching for more stuff.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, I like, everybody seems to be into the Marvel movies, and I'm just like, I guess I've never really been a big fan of superhero stuff. But I mean, I can understand why people would like it, but it's just never really been my cup of tea.
well, I kind of look at it, like everyone's hopping on the nerd culture, and they have been for years now, and they see comic books and comic book characters as being part of that. I've always seen comic book characters as just being like American mythology.
Hmm.
This is our mythological stories that we tell ourselves. Like the Greeks with the Olympians and the Egyptians and with their gods and whatnot. This is
Hmm.
just our own little universe where we can
Yeah,
create these larger than life characters.
right.
And
Oh,
so I've always thought
apparently
that was pretty cool.
I'm reading in because they said Fugi said that the Korn's got a new album coming out.
Hmm.
I'm in here. Jonathan Davis's wife passed away.
Oh.
That sucks.
Oh, wow.
2018.
Oh,
Uh,
shit.
yeah,
I
that's
didn't even know about that. That was last year.
yeah, drug overdose.
Oh man, that really sucks.
Cocaine, heroin, clonazepam, topiramate, and
Oh.
fluoride. Holy crap.
And I think they have kids too. Well, that sucks. Drugs. What? It's a big one. Yeah. I mean, that's what killed Wayne Static of Static X.
Yeah, and his
Right.
wife.
Oh shit, that's right. That's true. Because then not too long after that, she died.
Yeah, she committed suicide right after he did.
So I got Chris Cornell too.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that Eddie Vedder is pretty much the last big vocalist of the grunge days that's still alive. I mean, because it's like in '94 we lost Kurt Cobain, and then 2002 we lost Lane Staley, and then I don't know if Stone Temple Pilots was really considered a part of the grunge movement, but then obviously Scott Weiland,
yeah,
and then Chris Cornell.
I mean, I would count them as being part of that because I mean they were big in the early '90s when I remember them being on with the soundtrack for The Crow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was pretty into STP back in the day. My brother had the Corn or not Corn Core and whatever a Purple. Their first and second album.
They said, let's see, it's what I do, how I deal with things is that I go on in my life. Out here is my therapy. Playing for people is my therapy. And yeah, I mean, for most people who perform like that, yeah, that's how they do it.
Yeah. Don't do drugs, kids.
And if you do them responsibly.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you think about it, that's what killed Scott Weiland. You know, he never shook the heroin addiction that he had.
That's what got Shannon Hoon and was it Bradley? Oh shit, what's his last name?
Oh, Brad Knowles.
Knowles, that's right.
From
Sublime.
Sublime, yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's just crazy to think that all these people that I grew up listening to in the 90s are just starting to just keel over. And it's like last year we lost Dolores O'Riordan of the Cranberries, which that was kind of a band that I was really into back in the 90s.
If I had to guess, Foogie, wouldn't it be his brother taking over for Wayne Static on vocals? Isn't his brother in Power Man 5000?
No, that's
it's Rob Zombie.
Oh, that's Rob Zombie. Okay,
yeah.
Who am I thinking of then? Shit, I guess I got him confused.
Yeah, but
for the longest time, I was under the impression that it was Wayne Static had a brother in Power Man 5000. Huh?
Yeah.
You learn something new every day, kids.
Although, quite possibly, she could have. They could have.
No. I mean, you hear stories about siblings that are in the music business and stuff. I mean, you look at the Gallagher brothers of Oasis, and then you've got most of Devo, I think, are all brothers. There's like two sets of brothers in Devo.
There's this one band that I heard about up at Rocklahoma, Hailstorm. It's a brother and sister act.
Oh.
Which is really weird. Like, it's a brother and sister. Like, you know, the sister is the vocalist, the brother's one of the guitarists, and then they've got, you know, other band members filling out the rest of the band. And I think they're managed by like their dad. And I thought it was kind of weird because like they had one song. It's like, you know, the chick singing, you know, she's hot, and the song's pretty sexual. It's like, okay, so you're playing this on stage with your brother standing right next to you, and your dad counting the money backstage. You ever think she might feel like a little bit of a whore?
But Hailstorm's actually got some pretty decent songs, and I think all the guys in Chevelle are also brothers too.
Well, not anymore. Now it's a brother-in-law. Like they kicked one of them out.
Oh,
Yeah, it was three brothers, and then I think the brother Joe. I think that the bassist. I think he left the band, and they brought in their brother-in-law to play bass. Because Pete's the singer and guitarist. Joe was the bassist. I can't remember the brother that was the drummer. I can't remember his name.
Let's see. Yeah, Sam Leffler.
Of course, I was actually thinking Sam because Pete, Joe.
Sam, Joe.
Yeah.
And then, they actually have it. They had a touring bassist, and now it's Dean Bernardini.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's their brother-in-law. But
Sora said the Osmonds.
taking it way back there, Sora.
Oh my god! I think
who's the old one?
is it Donnie? Is Donnie the old one or the older one?
I meant
Donnie and Marie.
Well, Donnie Marie. Yeah, I think Marie now does. She does advertisements for Nutrisystem. Now I wonder if there'll ever be a Donnie and Marie reunion on like Las Vegas.
It'll probably happen on Collab. And nobody laughs at my Mormon joke.
It'll be on a TV show.
Oh shit! I forgot that they're Mormon. I should have known that because it's like, yeah, because how many Osmonds are there? And
There
the
are few.
the Mormons are notorious for having a lot of kids. But then there's the Jacksons, and the Jacksons are not Mormon. They were Jehovah's Witness. Or were they Jehovah's Witnesses, or is it that Michael Jackson became a Jehovah's?
I don't know about the Jacksons being Jehovah's Witness. I know Prince was a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, yeah, he was. And talk about another one who was taken far too soon.
But yeah, and the only reason why I found out about that was I think it was one of those Kevin Smith like stand-ups. I think he talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to shoot something, either for Prince or about Prince, and like it never came up and never came to be. So,
yeah. Man was a fantastic guitar player, that was for sure. And he had some good songs. It was big deal back in the 80s.
I was more fan of Morris Day and the Time myself. But
oh hell yeah, Jungalo, that's a great song.
Morris Day and the Time.
Well, I mean, just watching that movie, they seem like it seemed like the more upbeat, more fun band.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you make a movie about yourself and your music and you get upstaged? I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it sounds like between the brothers, Sam and they're saying Joe's saying that Sam and them fired him, and Sam and the other guy are saying that Joe quit, and then they brought him back, and then he quit again.
But since Quiz isn't showing up here, man, you want to go ahead and get into that thread that we were talking about, Captain Marvel?
Yeah. Let's see.
Whoa, Captain Marvel thread? What's this? You kind of piqued my interest.
Oh, the other night I got off work and I was scrolling through the internet, trying to unwind before going to bed, and I found this Twitter thread. I don't know who. If somebody retweeted it or liked it to end up on my timeline, but
Rodrigo Perez.
Yeah. This is Rodrigo Perez is a Emmy-winning digital/social director, comma, journalist, editor-in-chief at The Playlist, at Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, bylines in IndieWire, MTV News, Pitchfork, and Spin. And I'll go ahead and you want me to screen share this, or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and click the button here. The Captain Marvel boycott really worked. The movie is $11 million away from $1.1 billion, $400 million domestic, $12 million away from Wonder Woman, 25th highest grossing movie of all time, 7th highest grossing Marvel movie, 2019's highest grossing film, domestic and worldwide. That's the first tweet of this thread. And I've got to say, I don't remember anybody doing like an organized boycott of Captain Marvel. I just remember a bunch of people saying, it's like, yeah, not interested, pass.
Well, I know that there were people in the Fandom Menace that they were really pushing this Alita Challenge hashtag where they're trying to get
Okay,
people.
yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah. It's like they were trying to get people. They're trying to encourage people, instead of seeing Captain Marvel, go see Alita, which is a better movie with a strong female character.
But this first one was what caught my attention and what I took the most umbrage with. Okay, first of all, they say the 25th highest grossing movie of all time. Is that adjusting for inflation?
Good question.
Or are we just saying, are we throwing that out the window now? Because, for the longest time, it was Titanic was the highest grossing movie of all time. And then we started getting into the superhero era. And I remember, I think, was it The Dark Knight when that came out? And it was, smashing records at the time. And it was creeping up towards Titanic. And a lot of the critics back then were saying, well, you got to adjust for inflation. If you adjust for inflation, Titanic made way more, and it's not even close to breaking that. Now that seems to be out the window. And it's like the 7th highest grossing Marvel movie. It's like, okay, if you had put any of those other Marvel movies right before, Endgame, how much more would they have grossed, do you think?
Yeah.
Right now, if they want to go with 25th adjusted for inflation, it's Cinderella from 1950. The Marvel movies that come before that, we got Avengers at 19 and Infinity War at 13th.
But and the one that really got me was the last part here. 2019's highest grossing film, domestic and worldwide. It's fucking April.
Highest. Well, that's before Endgame. Endgame's obviously going to pummel the shit out of it and take the mantle or take the award for highest grossing movie of 2019.
But yeah, I mean, it's like we're not even through April yet, and he's throwing this out. Really, come on, dude. It's like, and this is somebody who's a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic. Now we know why the critic scores are shit.
7 weeks in theaters, Captain Marvel has even outgrossed Black Panther. Well, no shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you put Captain Marvel before Endgame and at the end of Infinity War have that teaser that Captain Marvel is going to play a big role, then yeah, of course. I mean, this was all set up by Disney. I mean, it was set up to not fail, Captain Marvel.
Well, and like if just in that alone, it's a Disney movie, number one. It's a Marvel movie, number two. That right there has guaranteed you a decent return.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that now Disney owns like 20 some odd % of the market share of all TV and movies and stuff coming out, at least in the American market. they've got about a quarter of all. They can schedule these movies out years in advance and know that nothing is going to compete with it because pretty much they own a fourth of all the shit coming out.
No shit.
So yeah, I mean that's why there was nothing really competing with Captain Marvel at the box office, is because Disney didn't schedule anything else to come out.
Yep.
It's actually part of their rules and practices, or their standard operating procedure. If they've got a big movie coming out, they don't put anything else out anywhere around it that would compete, because they want you to go see this one.
Well, and then also, I mean, if you think about it, Disney basically forced movie theaters to play Captain Marvel in a certain select number of theater rooms.
But here's what really gets me is scrolling down here at the end, he gets past the Captain Marvel. By the way, for the Reply Peanut Gallery who can't read, I wasn't talking about the subjective quality of the film. Good, because you probably get hung out to dry on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about whether the targeted boycott worked. Spoiler alert, it failed miserably, and to that end, maybe we as press should give that shit less attention. It's like, you're a fucking movie critic. You're not Woodward and Bernstein, all right? I think there should be a clear delineation between the actual press, like journalists, and what this fuckhead does.
Well, no, and here's the thing. What'll be really telling is at the end, like post Endgame, is will Captain Marvel have the same level of success as her Origins movie? With the so-called sequel coming up and stuff. That's what'll really be telling.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's. I think it won't. I think for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
I think it won't be as successful because a lot of people are going to be burnt out after Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is over a decade in the making. Iron Man came out in 2008. So, they've had this build up for over 10 years, and this is the culmination of that. A lot of people are going to be tired of it, man. And then they've got all these movies scheduled out. They've already been promoting the next Spider-Man movie. Black Panther 2 is going to be coming out sometime around then as well. They're going to start getting into the cosmic characters. And they're going to have all these new characters coming in, all these old characters going out, and they're going to have Captain Marvel tying it all together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's like because Feige's talking about making Captain Marvel the face of the new MCU, which it's like, nah, it's not going to work.
Not to take from it, my favorite thing in there, because he's never apparently heard of trolls.
Mm-hmm.
Is apparently there's a lot of Trump supporters in his live streams.
Oh yeah,
and that's here. It is.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. You keep scrolling down, and he gets in. He really hammers on this one channel, Geeks and Gamers.
Yeah. Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers. He's part of the fandom menace because I remember he was kind of trying to push people into this hashtag Alita challenge.
But yeah, and here's another quote unquote member of the press bitching about YouTube. This bullshit is all over YouTube. The views on some of these videos is outrageous.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm subscribed to Geeks and Gamers, and when Jeremy does his live streams, it's amazing how many people he pulls in. I've seen his views in the thousands. And it's funny too because he's made videos going after guys like that, whoever the fuck that dude, that Rotten Tomato Critics.
Rodrigo Perez.
Yeah, he's basically made videos saying it's like, keep bitching, you guys, because keep bitching about me, you guys, because you're only making me more relevant.
Yeah. It's like when I was on Monkey in the Morning, talking with Polly about like Avi Yemeni doing and the recording of Jim Jeffries. I was like, wouldn't it have been nice if if your boy Zach had done the same thing, so we could see exactly what was said
Mm-hmm.
instead of just seeing what they cut together. And Polly had an interesting take on that. He's like, well, his son told him, like, yeah, they're going to do this to you, but it's still going to get a lot of people who have no idea about Comicsgate to come take a look and see for
Mhm.
themselves.
Yeah.
And that's, completely valid point. I don't disagree with it one bit, but I still want to see, like the Avi Yemeni. I want to see what was said so they could splice that together to make him look that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I brought up Avi Yemeni getting deported,
Mm-hmm.
and he brought up it's more racism against the thing. I'm like, do you even know who the guy is? Like, he is Jewish, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, speaking of Jewish people, did you see the new Matt Christensen video that came out today, Johnny?
I did.
That's hilarious, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Wait, what happened?
Well, there was a few weeks back. It was actually April 1st, if I'm not mistaken. This woman in Palo Alto, California, named Parker Mankey, put up a Facebook post, which is long diatribe about this old guy she saw sitting in Starbucks in town wearing a Make America Great Again hat, and how she yelled at this dude and was telling all the people in this crowded Starbucks that he was a racist and he hated brown people and he was a Nazi. And her Facebook post was imploring people to, if they know who this guy is, confront him when you see him. She was going to try and dox him and get him fired from his job and all this and all that. Just screeching. Just internet screeching. Well, come to find out, this guy, he's a 74-year-old retired technical writer. He's retired. There's no job to get him fired from. And underneath his Make America Great Again hat is a yarmulke.
Oh, Jesus.
and to really top it all off, Miss Parker Mankey got fired from her job working at like a music shop because of all of the stink that she made on social media.
And let me just show you something you will not be surprised by.
Oh, you got a picture of her? Yeah. Oh, that's not even the best one. There's one where she's got it like in a mohawk. That was in Matt's video.
Karma is
That's
a
the guy.
bitch.
MAGA hat. Yarmulke.
Yarmulke. Or
Wow.
Yarmulke, as Blonde would say.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, Little Giant J. No. Bad.
No.
Stop it.
No. What about
cast Kevin Hart as Blade? No, sir.
There's only one Blade, and that's Wesley Snipes. Change my mind.
No, I'll see if I can find him first. That is who you will cast as Blade.
But
Yeah,
this chick, she got fired, and apparently she has gone so deep underground that people thought she went missing. Like, the police investigated and everything. Like, as far as we can tell, she just left. From what we can tell, she is voluntarily missing.
Oh, maybe the manga ninjas came to kidnap her.
No, she went hiding in I think Seattle. What did it say?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, Fugi, I would certainly not object to seeing a reboot Spawn.
Wait, aren't they doing a reboot of Spawn?
To my understanding, yes.
This is who they should cast as the new Blade. You guys ready for this?
Okay.
Tony Cox.
Oh, fuck you.
Wait a minute.
He's a funny dude, but no.
Wait, isn't that? Yeah.
That's the dude from Bad Santa and
he was
Me,
in
Myself, and Irene.
I think he was in Willow too.
No, that was a work done.
Okay.
Not all little people look alike, Lindsay.
No, I know
he was in
little
Willow.
people don't look.
Oh,
Yeah,
he was?
in Willow. Yeah, he was one of Willow's guy. He was one
He's
of
one of
the
he was
warrior
the
guys
warrior.
of the Elwins. Yeah.
But well, who they got playing? Who they got going to be the new Spawn?
I don't know. I don't know if they've cast anybody yet. I just know that it's in production, I believe, or it's in pre-production.
Jamie Foxx.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's why I try to block it out of my mind. I don't see Jamie Foxx being Spawn. I really don't.
I'm sorry, but I mean, sure, Jamie Foxx has proven that he's a pretty good actor, but he'll always be the In Living Color cast member. He'll always be Wanda to me.
I was gonna say he's always gonna be Wanda.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock your world.
Well, no, like I mean, I've enjoyed him in dramatic roles. I've enjoyed him in comedic roles. For the life of me, I can't think of any action movies he's done.
Just for reference, if anyone doesn't know who Wanda is, shut up.
Oh man,
I think with Jamie Foxx, I'm getting to the point where I'm just gonna start calling him by his actual given name instead of his stage name. It's Eric Bishop, if you're interested, folks.
Oh.
He chose the name Jamie Foxx when he was doing open mic nights at stand-up clubs because he noticed that it seemed like women would get on stage first. And this was like in the late 80s, guys. This was not, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But he seemed to notice, a pattern of like the female comedians or people with like unisex sounding names getting called up first. So he just put down like a whole list of made up names to see, which one would get called, and Jamie Foxx was one they called.
Ooh,
you know what I just realized, Camel?
Hmm.
I just went through my video list just to see if.
And I'm the thumbnail on a lot of them, aren't
I? No, actually, I'm the thumbnail on quite a few of them. There's a couple that you were in. One with Jack. Let's see.
Well, I'll listen back to him to check my audio to see if any other sounds are bleeding through. I try to keep a steady hand on the mute button just in case.
It's pretty mixed. There's one with Lindsay.
But it seems like every time I go back to listen to him, it's always my face staring back at me.
And then, but yeah, I had one live stream where I played directly off of YouTube a Dorkly Bits sketch. In fact, I've done it twice.
I remember that one, yeah.
And it doesn't have a copyright content view on it. But the one where we were playing the Russian slap fights, that got the copyright content.
Ooh, Little Giant J. Michael B. Jordan as Spawn. That'd be interesting because I really liked him in Black Panther. Thought he did good as Killmonger.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that one.
But
not Jamie Foxx.
But secondly, Little Giant J, how fucking dare you even suggest remaking The Matrix? No. Although yet I do like the idea of Keith David because Keith David's a brilliant actor as Morpheus, but no, that's one movie that should not be touched if you ask me.
I like Keith David.
There are plenty of movies that shouldn't be touched. I'm tired of all the reboots and remakes and sequels. The fact that I can't remember what it was, but there was somebody talking about making a book series like into a movie. I was like, good, as long as it's not a fucking as long as it's not another Dirty Dancing or anything like that.
I know, yeah.
Make more books into movies.
Well, and it's like I think the one exception to that rule is when it comes to book adaptations, like. Take, for instance, It was originally a miniseries, and then they turned it into a feature film a couple of years ago. And the fact the sequel's supposed to be coming out sometime I think at the end of this year.
Yeah.
So
we were just talking about that last time.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I
Nick-
have no objections to that, but it's like I'm a hardcore horror movie fan, and I just can't really get into the newer horror movies because it's like they're either sequels or they're remakes.
See, the ones that I couldn't get into with the horror movies is all the supernatural stuff, like the Paranormal Activity movies and stuff
Oh
like that.
no, yeah, though, like those found footage movies, like
Yeah, those make me nauseous, and it's purely from motion sickness, not because I'm scared.
right.
But I think the last horror movie I watched was oh shit, what was that one that had Ethan Hawke in it? And like
40 Days a Night.
no
Oh, no, that wasn't.
that was
The Purge.
Josh Hartnett.
The
Was he
Purge.
was he in the Purge?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
he was in
owner
the
of the
original
house.
one.
Huh.
No, it was the one where like he found like the movie reels, and it had like the kids, like all the families were getting killed.
It's kind of close to like The Conjuring. It sounds very similar to Conjuring, but I can't remember the name. I know what you're talking about though.
IMDb. Hold on one second.
I'm already there.
One
when
in doubt,
Johnny's
IMDb.
when Johnny's streaming with me, he never lets the IMDb get too far away.
Sinister.
Yeah, it's the one. And I think they did like a sequel to it with the guy, with like the cop. But
They
But
did do a sequel.
Well, it's like Camel. I really liked supernatural movies way back in the day, like the 70s and 80s, or in the 60s, had really good haunted house movies.
oh yeah, definitely.
You know, I mean, for instance, Poltergeist. Poltergeist was one of the very few movies that genuinely scared me as a kid. But now it's just like it's now constant supernatural stuff. I mean, you got like take a look at The Conjuring, and it's like I've never just with more of those movies coming out, I don't feel wanting to invest my time in those movies. You know, it's the same with like how in the 80s you had just these huge, how this mad slasher genre was such a huge thing back in the 80s. And that's one subgenre in horror that I never really got into because there's just so many movies.
You know what I think? What I think really kind of screwed with the horror genre is the same thing that screwed up the James Bond movies. Parody.
Yeah.
Austin Powers made James Bond have to be way more serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Scary Movie franchise, at least the first couple of them, really kind of screwed with like the people that make horror movies, to where they're like, we can't use those tropes anymore because they've already been made fun of too much. So.
Oh, but they certainly haven't moved away from fucking jump scares, which is what's really been driving me nuts, especially with new horror movies today.
Yeah, that's why I never go see horror movies in the theater, because you'll have a handful of jump cuts or jump scares that gets people in the audience screaming. It's like, yeah, that's not the part you need to be scared of, but go ahead.
You know, it's like whatever happened to those types of movies where it wasn't so much jump scares, but it was just like just the atmosphere and just that, like the way they set up the scene. It's like you had this never-ending dread.
Side note, Fugi, I got one for you if that's your preference. It's a movie called Wolf Creek.
Oh,
Check that one out.
I've heard that's a good one, and I think it was it based off of a true story?
Well, it's based on Australia, so anything's possible. But that's some of that real world kind of shit that could totally happen.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what creeps me out. You know what really ruined horror movies for me was the torture porn movies like Hostel.
Yeah.
Like watching that dude get his Achilles tendon cut creeped me out so much more than anything I'd ever seen in like Halloween or Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street.
When that gal pulled her eye out after it was because he was trying to help that chick escape from the place, and she had her eye out, so she like pulled it the rest of the way.
Ooh.
And then, I mean, like he tried to save her, but once she saw how like disfigured she was, she just threw herself in front of the subway.
Oh yeah.
See, and it's like I'm so weird. Like I'm kind of the same way, Camel. I've never really got into the torture porn movies, but then yet at the same time, I'm a huge fan of the Italian horror of the '80s, which were really graphic. Like you look at Lucio Fulci's movies, and he does not shy away from the gore.
And that's the weird thing. Like the gore does not bother me, but it's like
Yeah,
the gore for the sake of gore.
yeah. Because
That always kind of it didn't set well with me.
I think that's what sets the torture porn movies apart from like the early '80s Italian horror movies is that like because like taking Lucio Fulci for example, it's like sure he did had a lot of gory scenes in his movies, but at the same time it was still pretty scary. I mean, it's just the atmosphere of the movies, and now it's like torture porn. It just seems like exactly as it's called, torture porn. It's like they've just really glorified the violence, and there's really no substance to the film.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like Sora said. You know, at a point, it's just boring.
Yeah.
And you're more interested in the special effects instead of the movie. And I give major props to the people that do the special effects on those movies because they do them very well. It's very realistic and convincing, but you know, it doesn't really do them any justice if they don't have a story behind it to really make it, you know, interesting.
Yeah, it was funny when Sinister came out. I was they had me sold when they had D'Onofrio
Oh yeah.
in there, and then my stepson went in to watch, and I was like, "Oh yeah, how'd it go?" And he goes, "Good." D'Onofrio was just a video clip, by the way. And I go, really? He goes, yeah. I go, well, I'm not watching it. Like, I'm like, yeah. When it's just a response to a like, the acting is just you watching a MV Cave clip. No, whatever.
Yeah, it just reminds me of when they tried to reboot Poltergeist in 2015. I was just like, no, you can't touch Poltergeist. But then they added Sam Rockwell to the movie. I'm like, oh well, I have to see it now because I love Sam Rockwell, but I've never really watched it, and yeah, I heard it wasn't too good.
Oh, I've got another something to screen share with you guys. Just scrolling through the Twitter. This is courtesy of our friend Della Hazed. I had to see it, so now you guys do too.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, that kid.
Oh, fuck him. He's 20. He's not a kid anymore.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
true.
I was actually talking about with my girlfriend. I was talking about Scorsese's movie where he has the part where Jesus like whips the shit out of people.
Oh, yeah, it was like the Last Temptation of Christ, I think is what it
Something
was
like
called.
that. And
Yeah.
I brought that up, and I'm like, yeah, it's because he got the source material, which is from the book. And my girlfriend's like, no, Jesus didn't do that. And I go, yeah, he did. He very much did.
This right here is what pisses me off. 26,000 people like this.
Well, how many of those 26 are like, yeah, this kid's retarded?
Yeah.
Greatest thing I've
I
seen.
imagine that would be the 4.4K comments, not the likes. But I keep waiting for the day when this kid says something and nobody pays attention, and it still hasn't come yet.
Oh, I'm sure there's a few things.
But
It's just that people don't like Mike Pence more.
But have you noticed that, like, of all the Parkland kids, it's only him and like that Kashif kid are the only ones that've had any staying power?
Yeah.
Like, whatever happened to Comrade Buzzcut?
Oh, here's the faux hawk.
Oh, of that Parker Mankey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
We'll get rid of that for people watching. Yeah, I'm actually I'm reading some of the responses to this one. Let's see. Yeah, Stacey Ashland. Mom activist from Palo Alto is missing. Last location, Washington State. Please, so she can be found safe. And let's see one. With any luck, Mankey is being digested by a bear right now. I hope she's safe as well. I also hope she's arrested for verbal assault, in addition with charges because the man is elderly. Yeah, verbal assault isn't assault.
And what I think is hilarious is that the old guy that she was harassing feels bad for her for losing her job. You know, the person that she was sitting there without getting to know at all, and just immediately started calling a Nazi and a fascist, a racist who hates, you know, brown and black people, and, you know, LGBT, LMNOP, infinity pi squared.
Shamalama ding dong.
He felt compassion for her because he didn't want anybody to lose their job. You know, but he's the bad guy in her worldview. Not the person who just yells at random people, you know, for shit that has nothing to do with them.
I think she may have admitted herself to the SLWTA, the Self-Loathing White Trash Association. They're an organization that values anonymity. She's in good hands. Don't worry. She'll be back to bra burning in no time.
But I remember when I was in high school, there was one chick in my grade who would have been like the prototype of this kind of character. You know, shaved head. You know, she pretty much wore the nonconformist uniform, which I think is hilarious. How, you know, all these nonconformists all look fucking alike.
Conformity in the nonconformist area.
Yeah, and there was steam just coming off of her bald little head when I pointed that out to her.
Well, no, and here's the thing that gets me. It's like they get so mad if you don't refer to them as like they, them, z, zir. Yeah, go shamalama ding dong as I say it. And it's like there's only two genders. It's either she or he. And it's like based off of your physical appearance. Yeah, people are either going to refer to you as either she or he.
Well, what I think is funny is that my new job, we have an individual who comes in that I'm going to just go out on a limb and assume is transgender. It's, you know, this person, it looks like a guy who's, you know, in his late 50s or 60s, who has, you know, started transitioning. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, one of those, yeah, I'm just going to do this much and call it good transitions. Like, I mean, comes in with like a 5 o'clock shadow. You know, got the long hair, wears some short shorts, nail polish, and, you know, people around here, you know, small town Oklahoma, you know, red state, don't give a fuck. You know, they go ahead and call this person ma'am, and they go about their day. But meanwhile, it's Portland, where you've got all these attacks on LGBT people, and trans people are being beaten up in the streets, which I find kind of hilarious. It's like, you know, this place is supposed to be so woke and inclusive, and, you know, diversity is our strength. That's where they seem to be reporting having all these problems. But down here, we just go about our fucking business.
Yep.
You know, do whatever blows your hair back. As long as it doesn't affect me, I don't care.
God, I hear ma'am, and I just hear that dude go, "It is ma'am."
Bam.
I'm gonna start anybody who calls me dude, like, "It is ma'am."
Did you ever listen to her rap?
Oh shit, no.
Oh,
Did they finally find it?
oh yeah, it finally came out. It finally came out a few weeks ago, I think. I think Matt Christensen did an update to it because he asked in like his original videos, like, anybody finds it, please send it my way. So yeah, it's as trash as you think it would be.
Oh Jesus.
Because I just remember sitting there, you know, like hearing like the initial reports out. He's like, oh, it's a you know, the local DJ and rapper. And if I'm not mistaken, this is in your neck of the woods, Lindsay. No, this is Albuquerque. That's what it was. It's Albuquerque, not Arizona. So it's between you and me.
Sora said there's a rap that was exactly my expression, Sora. Like, we truly do live in clown world.
Honk honk.
Couple more sounds. Hey, how's
Hey,
it
little
going?
giant.
Yo.
I love that one, that macho ma'am tranny savage.
Okay, I've heard the Macho Man, but not the tranny savage. That's new.
Well, like that one and the vape shop guy came out like right around the same time. So you had Macho Man, Tranny Savage, and Vaporham Lincoln were the meme names going around.
Abraham Lincoln.
Let's see if this will play.
Which was really funny because that dude was yelling and he was so shrill. If he didn't have that beard, you could have convinced me that was a trans person.
Oh, the vape guy, isn't that the dude that like freaked out at the prospects of, or isn't that the guy that freaked out over a guy that came in the store wearing a MAGA hat?
Yeah.
It was a MAGA hat or a T-shirt. I can't remember which one, but yeah, it was some kind of MAGA.
It might have been a
Lincoln
T-shirt,
apparel.
actually. Might have been a T-shirt.
And the best part of that video, the whole time, was the black dude standing off to the side, just watching this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, "Dude, I just came in here to get some fucking vape stuff. Like, what the fuck's going on?"
It was a hat.
Okay.
It was
I just want some I just want some e-juice.
What I thought was funny is the guy's thumbnail. It just shows like MAGA hat versus, and then just a bottle of soy milk.
Well, okay. Has anybody
Oh,
seen?
soy milk.
Okay, so have any of you seen the have any of you seen the Golden Child?
No.
The Eddie Murphy movie?
Yeah,
Long time ago, yeah.
there was like this one scene where he like ends up at some sort of like in a family's backyard, and he's just like, I'm not here to cause a scene. I just want some chips. That's kind of, I was thinking of that dude in the vape shop. That's kind of just minding his own business. Like, I just want some e-juice. I'm gonna try to start anything.
But yeah, that one was in Georgia. So I'm guessing it was like a suburb of Atlanta or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's a couple of the memes that came from it that are absolutely wonderful.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet Christ! What?
And,
Oh my
Super Saiyan.
Oh.
Like the Super Saiyan, that's funny.
This is, man, she sounds hideous. Well, she's a kid.
oh, here we go. Coming to a GameStop near you.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, I remember that.
Oh shit, that was hilarious. See, lefties, this is how you do memes.
Yes.
God, it's just sometimes it's like some of the memes that I see them try to do. I'm just like, this is why the left can't meme is a hashtag for a reason.
Well, and it's not like, the right nails it every time, because there are a lot of fails. But that also, it goes from anyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of the left, how many of you guys are familiar with Mike Stuckberry?
Oh, yeah,
not
that
very.
dude. That Gammon or whatever the fuck.
AOG.
Hey, RJ.
Oh, I forgot about this one.
Oh boy.
Apparently, Mike is he's a little short on cash and he needs some help.
Surprise, surprise.
You may know I recently had a run-in with the far right. As a consequence, I've been dealing with illness and a rent problem. As a consequence of having a run-in with the far right, he's been dealing with illness and a rent problem.
How does
Am I reading this right?
Yes. How does for some reason apparently political discourse involves you getting some kind of infection and unable to pay your rent?
But I just like the person who tagged this. Help! I have no money because I waste my life arguing with people on the internet.
Hey, RJ.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
been sick with a cold.
Did you
And
run
some
into the far right
allergies.
too?
Very, very funny.
Superman.
Oh God, that one. Jeez.
Last night on Minions, we were talking about Brie Larson, and Peter actually brought this up. She looks like she's 40, yet she's
Yeah.
almost 30.
That's exactly what I've been saying. She looks like a mid-40s housewife.
She looks like she's the kind of person who would not get carded. I'll put it that way.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's totally got that I want to speak to your manager face. Like it's like she has like maybe what, 2-3 facial expressions. I mean, geez,
Resting bitch face and angry bitch face.
I've seen Plank of Wood look more livelier than she does.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're saying
Her-
Plank
her
has more
phone-
emotions?
The Plank has more emotions than Brie Larson.
like Plank from Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Yes.
I was just going to say,
Or actual plankton. The little sea creatures have more personality.
unlike
and
Brie
have more-
Larson,
Right.
Plankton went to college.
There's a reason why she's referred to as mild cheese Larson. It's like Brie, one of the mildest cheeses out there.
Oh, we were looking through her IMDb page, and guess what her first appearance was?
Porn.
Nope.
She was a kid though. Like what the hell?
The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Hey, that was Sylvester Stallone's first appearance.
She made $5 million for Captain Marvel.
Yeah, which is more than RDJ made for his first Iron Man movie, and she claims that there's a wage gap.
Well, he wasn't even the highest paid actor on that movie.
Really? Who was the highest paid actor?
If I'm not mistaken, it was Terrence Howard. He was the first one they signed to play in Iron
Really?
Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was Terrence Howard?
Yeah, he played Rhodey in the first Iron Man movie,
Well,
and then
Don
replaced
Cheadle.
him.
Don Cheadle replaced him, right?
Right.
Yeah, because they were clashing with. He was clashing with Robert Downey Jr. and he's like, "Well, you can if you can't pay me this, you can replace me." And so they replaced him.
Ooh.
He called them out on it, and they're like, "Okay, see ya."
Well, and then they did the same thing with Edward Norton when he was in The Incredible Hulk. I guess he was really difficult to work with. That they decided, he's out. So, and that's when they got Mark Ruffalo in as the Hulk. So, guess what, Brie? It's like it happened to Edward Norton. It happened to Terrence Howard. It can happen to you. You can easily be replaced, honey. So,
And you know what's really
Yep.
sad is the Edward Norton Hulk movie was the best one of that they'd done. He was the best Hulk in my opinion.
Yeah.
well, it's Edward Norton. You can't go wrong with Edward Norton.
Well, I mean, there's also the fact that they focused on him trying to control his anger. Like they had Hickson Gracie in there teaching him like breathing techniques in the movie to try and slow down his heart rate so he wouldn't get so angry and transform.
Mm-hmm.
They actually put some detail
Thought
into it.
Yeah, it wasn't the anger that made him change. It was the fact that his heart rate went up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I mean it was them showing him trying to actually control it and
Mhm.
harness it. But yeah, I just love how much fun Polly has pointing out that Mark Ruffalo got fired.
Ooh.
It's
Really?
so funny how much of a hate boner Paulie has for Mark Ruffalo. It's like I remember when he would title his comic book curation streams with like Mark Ruffalo doing something.
Well, I mean, can you blame him? The guy's a douchebag.
Yeah, he is. It's like between
I'm talking about Ruffalo, not Polly. So.
oh,
It's-
Polly's got this cool smoking jacket though, so I think he's a little one up over.
And I don't think it was the fact that he hated the script. It's that he wanted to make changes to it, and all the changes that he wanted to make would have changed the entire storyline, and so it would have done an entire rewrite.
What, Norton?
Yeah, and so they would have had to like rewrite the entire movie.
Well, that's what they get for asking for his input in the script in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never understood that. Like whether it's movies or any other industry, if you hire a person to do a job, once you've hired them to do that job, don't ask them to do other shit too. Just let them focus on doing the job you hired them to do, and either you handle the other stuff or you find somebody else to do it. Like I like the UFC. I like boxing. I hate seeing like UFC fighters have to go out and promote the fight for the UFC. Like these guys have got 6, 8, 10-week training camps that they got to go through. Depending on what division they're in, they've got to cut weight the whole time they're doing that. And then you want to send them out to go talk to Conan or whoever else. It's like let them focus on the fight. You're the UFC. You're the promoter. You promote the fight. Get Dana White's ass out there and have him talk to Conan about it.
I thought it was funny having when Conan had McGregor on, like, and you could just tell how much work he was doing because he was wearing the white shirt, and then he was just pouring sweat.
Oh yeah,
like it was just work to be there. Like he must have like just gotten like right out of doing a camp, and then going to Conan, and then probably going back to camp.
But yeah, that drives me insane seeing those guys having to fly around, do this, do that. I mean, it's one thing to do like a phone interview, like in between morning and evening training or something like that, but to have to fly from one country to another or across the country to go talk to some late night host who probably doesn't give a solitary flying fuck about what you're actually doing. That's infuriating to me.
It was Irish nationalism is all it was.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, who thinks Conan's sitting down to watch UFC?
Not me.
I think maybe only if it's McGregor, and that's me just being
generous.
Yeah, that's my Irish racism sitting in. Oh wait, I'm part Irish, so I can't really say that.
I'm part Irish myself.
Internalized racism.
There we go.
That's your internalized racism talking.
So, how many potatoes does it take to kill an Irishman?
My self-hating Irishman.
I don't know how many.
None.
Well, I just saw this one tweet that Tilt Featured retweeted from like the UK House of Commons. Would you consent to the police scanning your face in a crowd to check you're not a criminal?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference between that and a background check?
I'm pretty sure that, with a background check, you know that the background check's going on. Like if you're applying for a job or something.
Right.
If you're just walking down the street, I mean,
Somebody scans your face.
Well, I mean, they already look at. I mean, I've been on ride-alongs.
did you guys?
They
you guys
Google
see
your
that-
license plates whenever they're behind you at a traffic light.
Did you guys see that tweet that
Yeah.
was going around
it's always
last
different
week
than
or
that.
whatever? The chick who posted about JetBlue.
Mm-mm.
She didn't hand anybody her boarding pass or anything. She just stood in front of this monitor and it scanned her face, and then it let her go through the gateway
Mm-hmm.
to board her
Wow.
flight. And so she's asking JetBlue like all these questions, like, "Yeah, what's up with this facial scanner? Why is it scanning my face?" Like, "Oh, well, you can opt out of that." It's like, I get, well, why didn't you tell me that before this? And then she was asking us like, so where did you guys get this photo from? You guys just have this on file? And apparently they got it from the Department of Homeland Security.
Uh-oh.
She's like, wait, so like the federal government is sending out my biometric data to a private corporation?
Oh dear.
Okay, yeah, that's a little.
Now they're getting very, very creepy.
Mm-hmm. It'd be one thing if you had to submit a photo for, like, to the company,
Yeah, but now they're literally
yeah.
just taking them?
or at least scan a person to see if they match anybody on a terrorist watch list.
Which
You
I
know,
got problems with those
hey.
lists too.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the list.
Well,
Well,
how long?
It's all about your name.
I found the thread you were talking about.
Oh, the JetBlue one?
Yeah.
Yeah. But like the terrorist watch list, I am not convinced that they've been effective at all.
No.
In fact, I've actually seen stories where it's like, oh yeah, this person was not allowed to fly because they're on the terrorist watch list. Oh, guess what? That person is also an infant, and it's solely based on their name.
It should be
Yeah,
named
if you don't look into the person past the name, yeah, you're a moron.
It's like, yeah, sure, he's carrying a bomb, but it's in his diaper,
Mhm.
and
It's a
we've got
bioweapon.
Pampers and nappies, to fix that. So,
You're missing a prime opportunity here, Camel.
oh, am I?
A little baby Osama.
Osama Bin Laden.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
There you go. Hey, man, you asked for it.
That's exactly what I was going for too.
You can't blame me for that one.
Well, that's like the picture that Gabby sent me. I went to message her about doing the offline Jackbox thing,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing that popped up was the fan art that was sent.
Uh-oh.
Fan
Yeah.
art. We got fan art?
I am scared whenever I hear the word fan art.
You should be, because it is
Weird,
it's horrifying.
fun.
Oh, that. I've seen that. That doesn't make it any less nightmare inducing, but
Hey, man, it could be worse.
Gosh. Oh gosh!
Yeah.
Oh!
It could be
Imagine.
worse, Johnny. You could have a DM thread with tailed.
Oh,
Ugh.
Now imagine
feel
um,
blessed. You are
when I
not
was
within stabbing distance.
because like I went to look at the thing and that's what popped up and I just throw my phone down and I'm at my second job
Oh,
and I throw
gosh.
my phone down. I'm like, oh God, like completely forgetting that it's there. And my manager, one of the managers goes, what's going on? And I go, oh, I was gonna message a friend of mine real quick and she had a picture of the one where sorry everyone. Oh yeah, trigger warning. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, I was gonna send her a message and I forgot that this picture was on there. And he goes, well, what kind of picture? I go, oh, it's just furry fan art that uh, their fans have, and I explained about Direwolf and whatnot. And I was like, oh, I'll show you the picture. And as I click on the picture on the messenger, and as I turn the phone to him,
Mhm.
she sends the second picture.
Oh, God.
So it pops up, and he goes, "Oh God!" Like just the same guttural response right there. And I'm like, "Oh shit!"
At least that's not as bad as what I found. Yeah. Yeah, I've known a lot of weird furries.
Well,
God,
they're furries. What do you expect?
I just get back and I just hear a whole lot of screaming. I'm like, whatever I missed, good.
Are you guys surprised that the Game Boy turned 30 years old this year?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it involved its descendant, the 3DS, getting killed off.
We will appreciate no spoilers.
Ah, what a surprise.
I was gonna let him go with just removing the comment, but okay.
Thank God I'm not looking at the chat anymore.
Yeah, David's trying to be an edgy boy.
Man, you know what's funny is that it reminds me of Geeks and Gamers was doing a live stream, and this was like prior to Endgame being released, and he had to shut down his stream because the chat was just over flooded with spoilers. It's like,
Oh,
come
no.
on,
That's a
people.
bummer. That's
It's
a
like,
bummer.
come on, people. I mean, bless you. But it's like if you wanna look for spoilers, fine, that's your business. But come on, keep it off of social media for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
I mean,
There's-
at least give it a week. Give it
Yeah.
a week so everyone can go to the theaters and see it, and those who are left out, yeah, go ahead and spoil it for them. But give the rest of us a week.
Yeah, like there's protocol.
Yeah, at least give a week, before you start. This is why
Or
I've
if you
been
do it, make it the meme where it's the spoilers without context.
this is why I've been I mean, it's a good thing I haven't been really into social media much lately, but it's a good thing I've been avoiding it because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of spoilers out there for the Game of Thrones episode tomorrow. And I'm like, nope, I can't be spoiled for that.
Well, and there's quite a few. I'm like Monkey. It's not going to take away from me liking a movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it does take away from that impact of something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, like I didn't
still,
see
I'm very sure.
see,
I'll still enjoy it.
I didn't see Infinity War until it came out on Netflix. So I mean, it was thoroughly spoiled. But I mean, I also knew the story from like the Infinity Gauntlet comic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew what was coming. It did not, the memes and everything, it did not ruin my experience enjoying the movie. But like, I'm actually planning to go see this one in theaters. So I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Like even
I mean,
when they were reporting the screen time for the different actors, they're making videos talking about how Brie Larson only has 15 minutes of screen time. It's like, okay, well that's nice that she's not playing an overly big role in the movie, but I still don't want to know even that much.
I still find it funny that
If anything, that encourages me to go see the movie.
I like it
Knowing
how
I'm not gonna see her that
CGI
much.
raccoon gets 3 times more screen time.
Yeah, Nebula got the most screen time out of all the female characters,
Mhm.
which rightfully deserved because I heard that she has a lot to deal with in terms of dealing, because I think
Mhm.
she's the one that has the most animosity towards Thanos because Thanos really wronged her. So I think it would only make sense that she deserves to have her, to have her moment
Oh,
to
great.
shine. What's up?
Oh, my cat's getting in my closet again. That's what that door is.
I heard my oldest was like crying down the hall like he usually does.
Aw.
So
I mean,
your cats are picking up the slack for my cats. Good to know.
Apparently so. Oh, yeah, because usually yours is the one that's like barges into the room and just starts having a conversation with you.
Speaking of spoiling, pretty much last month I watched Shazam, and I haven't talked a damn thing about the film.
Yeah, there's
Oh, the baby. Sorry. I see a kitty and I'm just like, I'm such a crazy cat lady.
Come on, look at the camera.
Oh, it's an orange tabby. Oh, it's like
Yep.
the cat from Captain Marvel. The only good thing about Captain Marvel.
Hey,
He looks like Garfield to me.
Oh, I love orange tabbies.
And look, she hugs back.
Oh, I'm gonna vomit rainbows now.
She's so cute.
I love kitties. I love kitties. It's like, well, I'm that way with around dogs too. Anytime I see somebody showing up their dog, I'm like, oh, puppers.
You would love Willow.
And what?
She's my
Oh, your cat or your dog or
my dog Willow, my mini dachshund.
Oh, mini
She-
pigeons are so cute. Or mini dachshunds. Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah, right now the only one that
Although
ahead.
she's a barker.
Hmm.
She'll bark at
Well,
you at first, but then she'll lick you.
there is no cuter cat than Lord Meowington.
Lord Meowington, yes. Oh, and Kevki did that artwork, didn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah, she's amazing. I might
it's really well done.
Yeah, once I get my bills all caught back up, I'm gonna start seeing about commissioning artists for different avatars.
Yeah, I think I might do the same thing.
I need to message Grisella again because I asked if he was doing commissions because I really liked that drawing he did for Polly.
Yeah.
And yeah, he said he was opening himself up for commissions. And I said kind of the same thing I was thinking about doing with Samaj. Just it's like, hey man, would you be willing to do a new banner for my Twitter? And I'm really, I like looking at different people's art styles. I'm not so much concerned with what they actually draw. I just like the different styles.
Yeah, I want to find a different one for Princess Leaks, and then one for Fluffers.
But
So
I don't know. I don't know if Grisella's going to be willing to do it or not because I just left it pretty vague for him. It's like, yeah, man, just if you want, just go through like old Camel cigarette advertisements and see what inspires you.
Oh, Camel had some good ads back in the day.
They did, yeah. I mean, that's what my avatar and my banner are right now. Just old
just
Camel ads.
Mm-hmm.
But
I remember seeing those.
I'd
as
like
a
to see
kid.
somebody. I'd like to see somebody else's take on them. Because I've got one that I'm holding back just for when I finally do get sick of it all. And that's Chemo Joe. That's when you'll know I've had enough of social medias when my avatar changes to just a camel in a hospital gown with an IV drip.
Speaking of Chemo Jones, I miss Weibo's little Twitter name. I wish she kept it at Chemo Jones.
Well, that's because she had her
Oh,
See,
that's right. Yeah, her
appendix.
appendix removed. Appendicitis.
Oh,
Appendix.
I mean, that's not appendicitis is not fun.
Yeah, the thought of getting that just
It
absolutely.
can get severe if you don't do anything.
Well, it can kill you if you don't do
Exactly.
anything.
who wants to read something stupid?
Oh, I love stupid comics. What the hell is this? Wait, what did it say?
If you think about it, people with glasses are literally paying to use their eyes. Capitalism is a bitch.
Hey, I wear glasses. Thank you very much.
Well,
You know, someone should really tell her that Cambodia had a nifty solution to that problem.
No shit, right?
You're a victim of capitalism there, RJ.
Well, that makes me a victim of capitalism.
You see, comrade. Optometry is just capitalist propaganda.
See, we can't do Russian either. Like, Russian is,
Apparently, the Russians can't do Russian either.
well, the Russian just goes into Inigo Montoya. Like, my name is Inigo Montoya.
Well, I mean,
My name
if
is
we're
Inigo Montoya.
if we're going to talk about Russians, maybe we should invite some. See, I figured it didn't work last time because I cut it short.
Is it a bad saying? I think that's fire.
You
Honestly,
know,
I love the
communism really
Soviet
stuck, but
anthem.
the USSR they had some great tunes, man.
Hey, come on, it's a good tune.
Between that and the Nazi march from
Oh,
Indiana Jones,
Oh,
the Indiana Jones Nazi song is actually kind of catchy.
I'm gonna call that up actually. Let's see.
It's the song playing when they're doing the book burning.
See, I was debating on whether or not to do the USSR anthem or to do the Hell March from Red Alert. I decided to go with the actual anthem.
Oh, the Berlin March. There we go. That's the song, I think.
All right, so I do have because I gotta close up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit! So do I. It's already 2:40.
Oh shit.
340 on my end.
240 for me.
So tailed feature got into it with some.
Oh, is this the one about him joking about blocking people?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw this one.
He goes. She goes blocked for. I don't block people for having gender in their whatever in their bios. And he goes, I do blocked. He didn't even do it. He didn't block her. He just said
Yeah, it was.
blocked.
She said. No, it wasn't for having gender in their bio. Sinatra pointed out that the person had their pronouns in their bio, and I think somebody. I don't know if it was Tailed or somebody else had made a mention about how this person was going to block them, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't block people for being babies." And he's like, "I do, blocked," and then she quote tweeted that.
Oh, I fucking love Tailed. It's like I had him. It's like Jen and I had him on our Operation Domination show, and he was just such a delight. He was so fun because there's just constant banter back and forth.
Oh yeah,
Because he's like the king of banter.
Yeah,
Well, I don't ever get to really listen to him like doing his own thing. I've caught a couple of like replays of his old streams where it would just be like him on his own, and those were very entertaining. But I don't know, maybe it's just the time zone difference. Him being like 6-7 hours ahead. But yeah, I don't really get to see a whole lot of Tailed.
Yeah. And it's like one of these days I want to have him on a stream with some other people to just have like a musical discussion, because he's a fellow music nerd like I
Guitarist.
am.
He's a guitarist.
Oh, he plays all sorts of instruments, I believe, but yeah, it's primarily
Yeah,
guitar.
He is what would be like. He's definitely a musician.
Hmm.
Didn't he do the Ghost Poo theme for him? For the guys?
He did Count Dankula's theme. I know that.
Yeah. But I could have swore he also did the theme for the Ghost Poo for the GPP that they play at the beginning of every episode.
I'm sure he probably did.
I've never heard it. I don't watch Ghost Poo all that much.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't know. I mean, I really like the guys on Ghost Poo, but I think I kind of prefer their actual videos. But I do love going on to Bloodwings Redneck Radio, which they've got going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, the next couple of Saturdays that Bloodwing's gonna be streaming, it's gonna be my birthday.
Oh, here it is. He goes, yeah, I don't block people for being babies. He goes, I do. You're blocked.
Was that woman, David Hogg?
No, it was this gal, Legend of Phoenix. Because yeah, it was her, between her and Irate Bear. Because he was saying that because people who are
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
in his chat doesn't make him alt-right.
Oh shit, that's right. Because I remember he got into it with a few people because they were claiming it's like, oh, you're dog whistling to the alt-right and shit like that. Because I saw that he put a video out talking about how I guess people were saying that Chris Ray Gun was somehow catering to the alt-right, which I just think is I hate that term, dog whistling.
Yeah,
like
It's
that
so
is
stupid.
That's conspiracy theory logic right there, in that one word.
In fact, I have a reply further down as I was trying to read things, because it was scattered all over the place. So like I wasn't sure what was going on, and so yeah, this guy goes, "Oh, why did you make fun of her, assuming that would be her response?" He goes, because I was joking and didn't block her.
Oh,
or you could make up your own reality. You do you. And they went off about a thing, and I go, I think I lost the plot. Didn't this whole thing start because Chris Reagan made a video she didn't like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of words to take in and a very minute amount of caring that needs to be done.
God, that one day was just a real Twitter shit show, because you had Bear getting into it with people, and then you had Sinatra go back and forth with that one chick in regards to trans people. Which I'm still waiting, because I would certainly love to see a debate between Sinatra and Eve, because I remember Eve mentioned that she disagreed with what he had to say, and she said on Monkey in the Morning that, hey, I'll debate you, and it's like, hey, I was trying to get across the Monkey, like, hey, why don't you host since Sinatra's channel got whacked, why not host a stream and have those two? Because I'm curious to hear both sides of it,
Just be safe though. Put it over on Ranting Monkey Gaming.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Sinatra is pretty much strike bait at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm surprised he's still going. Like,
I mean, I enjoy Sinatra, and I think it's really shitty that he's got to jump through all these hoops.
yeah.
But at least now he's got 100K followers, so he can actually talk to somebody at YouTube about it.
Yeah. Before, I remember he mentioned something along the lines of that you couldn't get before the 100K subs he got, he could barely get through to anybody, and now he can.
Well, did you see I think they talked about it on one of their Ghost Poo deals. He had a strike not too long ago, a few months back, and he ended up messaging back and forth with this dude at YouTube. I don't remember if it was like instant message or if it was email, but like English was obviously not this dude's first language.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming from somebody that was like a C plus English student growing up.
All right, De La Haze, you get points for this.
So
In response to David Hogg's tweet, De La Haze replies with this.
All right, let me. Oh.
He was a Jedi.
Oh my God, Della, I love you. Perfection, sir.
Oh,
Bravo.
Della wins the internet.
Bravo.
but
and on that note, we have to call it quits.
Yeah.
Good day.
Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
I think David ran off.
yeah, he hasn't come back.
I'm
I
sure
think
we'll
he
pass
passed the 5 minutes, definitely.
Yeah.
thanks for everyone. Thanks for Sora, Boogie, Texkin, if you're still in there. That's not even my nickname. That's Camel's nickname for you. Why the hell did I call him? God.
Hey, if he's gonna keep calling me a Yankee, I'm gonna keep calling him a Texican.
Texican?
Texan.
Oh,
No, Texican.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
like,
Necklasaw Collins
like I
is
said Texican.
Texican.
That's actually kind of funny.
I'm going to delete that whole last part. So, and yeah, thanks you guys for showing up in the hangout.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So yeah,
Pleasure as always.
And I mean, you know, since it's a fan favorite, I can't leave everybody. You know, just one last time.
Oh boy.
Dos Vidania, comrades.
all right, you guys have a good night.
Yeah.
Day,
Farewell.
whatever.
Later, guys.